After my aunt, Liu Ruyan, raised me, I caught some serious, unexplainable feelings for her. But literally on the day I was going to confess, she hard launched a new fiancé, and I was absolutely crushed. All I could do was pretend to be happy for them. But just as I was trying to move on, I accidentally found out that my uncle Eo Cheng was hitting the clubs with IG models. And he's a total gold digger. I was fuming. I exposed the truth to Liu Ruyan, but she straight up refused to believe me. She told me to stop throwing shade at her dream guy. Even Ito Cheng mocked me to my face. Who doesn't know about your creepy little obsession with your aunt? You only deserve my sloppy seconds. But what nobody expected was, right as I was about to lose my mind from the rage, my second personality quietly woke up. What's mine, nobody gets to take away. I only made one wish for my 18th birthday. But the second I stepped into the house, I knew it was never going to come true. The lights inside were warm and cozy, but the woman who raised me for 10 years had her shoulder wrapped in some guy's arm. They looked way too close. Hearing the door open, Liu Ruyan turned around and said, "You're back. We were just waiting for you to eat." The guy smiled too. "You must be Jiboda. No wonder your aunt talks about you 24/7. You're quite the handsome guy." I forced a fake smile and said, "Heh." Liu Ruyan took the red roses and cake from my hands, introducing him. "This is Ito Cheng, my fiancé." Boom. I literally heard something shatter inside my chest. I froze on the spot, looking up at Liu Ruyan's gorgeous face. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. Ito Cheng chuckled. "Jiboda, were you planning to confess to some girl at school with these?" I bit my lip hard. No. That was a cake I carefully picked out and spent a whole week learning to bake. It was actually my confession gift to Liu Ruyan. The vibe suddenly got super awkward. Liu Ruyan frowned, looking annoyed by my cold attitude. She called out, "Jiboda," snapped back to reality by her crisp voice. I dug my nails into my palms. I stuttered. "When did this happen?" "It's kinda sudden." I didn't process it for a sec. Ito Cheng looked relieved. "Almost 3 months now. Your aunt didn't want to distract you from your exams, so she kept it on the down low. We've been planning a destination engagement trip. Jiboda, is there anywhere you want to go?" But Liu Ruyan chimed in, "He's just a kid. He definitely wouldn't want to third-wheel us." Jiboda finally finished his exams. "Where do you want to go with your friends? Auntie will fund a trip." Hearing them say "we" and "usas" so naturally, I felt my hands behind my back start to shake uncontrollably. I couldn't stay here another second. I took a big step forward, snatched the roses and cake back, and turned away. Fighting my emotions, I said, "I'm not feeling well. You guys go ahead and eat." I sprinted downstairs, terrified that if I stayed one more second, I'd expose my toxic, jealous side right in front of Liu Ruyan. This apartment was a gift from her when I was in middle school. It was right below hers. An exclusive luxury penthouse, right in the heart of the city, worth tens of millions. Ever since I was 10, when my parents died in a car crash, my dad's distant cousin, Liu Ruyan, took me in. She's always been this generous to me, giving me everything she could, but I was getting too greedy. I actually wanted more. The most pathetic part is, I really thought I had a chance. The room was pitch black. Only my phone screen was lit. 1 drop, 2 drops. The tears fell, quickly blurring the photo on the screen. The smiling faces of the woman and the teenage boy. I raised my hand and slapped myself across the face without hesitation. The loud smack echoed in the empty room, like a brutal punishment for my delusional fantasies all these years. I don't know how much time passed, but the inner turmoil and pain slowly began to fade. Liu Ruyan will probably never know exactly when I stopped calling her auntie. That simple change in title hid all my unspeakable feelings and pain. My head started throbbing, but I forced myself to push through the discomfort, grabbed my phone, and snapped a pic of the cake on the table. Then, I picked up a pen, and with a heavy heart, wrote one sentence on the back of the photo. At 18, I lost the love of my life. Right then, my phone suddenly buzzed. It was a text from Liu Ruyan. Using her classic elder tone, she said, "Ito Cheng, made a whole table of your favorite foods. You shouldn't have just stormed off like that." Are you feeling sick? Do we need to call a doctor? She double-texted. Ji Boda replied. I locked my phone with a blank expression, holding my head. It felt like it was about to explode. No, I can't do this. I stumbled into the bedroom, frantically digging through the medicine cabinet. All I could hear was my pounding heartbeat and heavy breathing. Just as I dry swallowed 3 pills, a woman's voice came from behind. What are you taking? My hand jerked violently. 1 pill rolled across the floor, stopping right at Liu Ruyan's feet. She picked it up and walked towards me. I pinched the bridge of my nose, stood up trying to play it cool, and said, Vitamin C. I think I'm catching a cold. In the moonlight, Liu Ruyan saw the German word on the bottle. It really did mean vitamins. So, she let her guard down. Click. She turned on the lights. My bloodshot eyes and messy hair were fully exposed. Liu Ruyan frowned, reaching out to feel my forehead. She asked, You're feeling that bad? I'll call the family doctor. I dodged her hand and said, No need. I just need to sleep it off. Say sorry to my uncle-in-law for me. I really don't have an appetite today. Her hand paused midair. She said, Now you're calling him that so sweetly. Earlier, I thought you had beef with Ito Cheng. I shook my head. He's your fiancé. As long as you like him, that's enough. Liu Ruyan could sense my subtle resistance. Still, she ruffled my hair and said, Ji Boda, don't overthink it. Even after I get married and have kids, I'll still spoil you just like before. I looked up, the emotions inside me ready to explode. I desperately wanted to ask, if that's true, can you love me instead? Can you stop treating me like a kid? I'm grown now. I can protect you too. But in the end, I just lowered my head. She already has a lover. I was too late. Liu Ruyan helped me sit on the edge of the bed and poured me a glass of milk. She said, If you're not feeling well, get some rest. I haven't even asked how your exams went. What college are you aiming for? My throat felt like it was being sliced by glass. I whispered back, I haven't decided yet. But, honestly, I'd already decided to go to the US. I wanted to stay before, because of my delusional hope that Liu Ruyan and I could actually be together. But now, I want to leave, because I'm terrified of losing control, doing something I can't take back, and making Liu Ruyan hate me. Just seeing Ito Cheng earlier, my mental state was already super unstable. I'm really not sure if I have to watch them being all lovey-dovey every single day, if I'll actually go insane. I just wanted to keep my dignity and save face in front of Liu Ruyan. There's no way I could let her find out I was sick. Liu Ruyan didn't suspect a thing. All right, take your time, she said. She tucked me in and turned to leave. Before walking out, she added, Ito Cheng and I are hosting dinner tomorrow. You should come. I nodded. Good night, Auntie. The next day, Liu Ruyan hosted the dinner at Chengxi Pavilion. The private room was packed with friends and family, all smiling and sending their best wishes. I was the only one totally zoning out, unable to swallow a bite. Suddenly, Liu Ruyan gagged while eating. Someone immediately teased, Sister-in-law, are you expecting? Cheng is the man. Seeing Liu Ruyan blush and bury her face into Ito Cheng's chest, my eyes teared up. I quickly stood up and said, I need to hit the restroom. But, Pan. The whole room was busy hyping up the happy couple. Nobody even noticed me leave. I hid in a stall and dry swallowed 3 more pills before mustering the courage to head back. But, passing by the entrance, I was shocked. I literally saw Ito Cheng outside all over some random woman. My blood ran cold. I snapped a pic and rushed back to the room. Just as I was about to speak up, Ito Cheng walked in and kissed Liu Ruyan on the cheek. I clenched my fists and shoved my phone back in my pocket. That night, I anxiously knocked on Liu Ruyan's door. Ito Cheng wasn't around. I couldn't hold back anymore and burst out, How did you even meet Ito Cheng? Do you really know who he is? Liu Ruyan frowned slightly. What's wrong? What are you trying to say? My hands shook as I pulled out my phone and showed her the photo. Don't let him play you, I said. Liu Ruyan snatched the phone, her expression turning ice cold. Ji Boda, she said. Since when did you become someone who loves throwing shade at people? I was stunned. I saw it with my own eyes. He's got a side chick. Refusing to believe me, Liu Ruyan tossed the phone back. That's Cheng's cousin, she said flatly. He already told me. I was speechless. A cousin. I clearly saw him grab her butt. I just didn't catch it on camera. I was emotional. You just believe whatever he says. He's gaslighting you. Liu Ruyan snapped back. Ito Cheng is the husband I chose. Of course I trust him implicitly. I froze. Right, they're getting married. They're a team. And me, I'm just an adopted kid with zero blood relation. A burden she's dragged around for 10 years. Obviously she'd trust Ito Cheng over me. Liu Ruyan sighed. What is going on with you? You've been acting crazy these past 2 days. The word crazy made my blood run cold. I blankly raised my hand, only to realize I was shaking. Uncontrollably. How? I literally upped my dosage. Panicking, I started rambling. Okay, I get it. I'm fine. I'm gonna go. I turned and sprinted away. The second I stepped inside, I got a text from Liu Ruyan. Don't go running your mouth about this. He'll get mad if he hears it. I numbly typed back. I'm sorry. Liu Ruyan left me on read. A week later, college exam scores dropped. As a star basketball recruit, my score was high enough for the top domestic schools. But I was never going to stay here. Having to watch Liu Ruyan fall for someone else would literally kill me. After ghosting me for 7 days, she showed up at my door. She was wearing an elegant dress, the hem swaying in the breeze, showing off her perfect figure. Liu Ruyan smiled at me. I checked your scores. You crushed it. Auntie is taking you out to celebrate. And just like that, I was pathetically happy again. I rushed to wash my face and fix my hair. But the moment I opened the passenger door, Liu Ruyan said, "Sits in the back. We're picking up Ito Cheng first." I stood frozen, a lump in my throat. I felt my heart sink straight into my stomach. I asked, I thought this was my celebration. Why is he coming? Liu Ruyan pouted slightly. Eventually, she caved. She called Ito Cheng and said she wouldn't meet up with him today. Liu Ruyan frowned a bit, rolled up the window, and gave her verdict. Gee, Boda, she said. You're just biased against him. I didn't even want to argue anymore. I just let out a hollow laugh. Liu Ruyan sighed. Stop throwing a tantrum like a kid. We're family. Are you planning to dodge him forever? I didn't leak my plans about moving abroad. Instead, I clapped back. I'm not a kid. Liu Ruyan laughed. She said, when you actually fall in love for real, then you can say that. I suddenly turned to her. Who says? I haven't. Not catching the serious tone in my voice. Liu Ruyan paused for a second, then asked, really? Who is Ji Boda crushing on? A classmate? I smiled faintly. You. Liu Ruyan just laughed. And you claim you aren't a kid, she said. Auntie loves you too. You're so mature and amazing. But that's not the kind of love I mean. My heart had been pounding out of my chest. I actually thought my sudden confession would spark something in her, but she just brushed it off as me being silly. What a joke. I barely touched my food again. I don't know why, but it's like my body completely forgot how to feel hungry. I was blankly cutting my steak when my knife slipped and sliced my finger. It was so weird. Seeing the blood gush out actually gave my deadened mood a sick little adrenaline rush. Liu Ruyan immediately grabbed my hand. Don't move. I'll go get bandages. The second she stepped out, her assistant walked in. Seeing the boss wasn't there, the assistant bowed to me. Hello, Mr. G. I'm here to drop off VIP files for Ms. Liu. Could you let her know? I nodded. The assistant left. Just then, a rowdy kid ran by, flipping open the cover of the files. I accidentally caught a glimpse of the contents, and my pupils shrank. Liu Ruyan was actually moving the company to another city. She even bought a new house there. Is she leaving town the second she gets married? Was she planning to ghost me without saying goodbye? Just thinking about that possibility made me lose it. I bolted out the door. From a distance, I spotted Liu Ruyan's back. She was leaning against the wall, holding a pharmacy bag and talking on the phone. Yeah, everything's sorted, she said. My assistant is dropping off the paperwork today. She laughed sweetly. Okay, babe. We can move whenever you want. It's totally up to you. G. Boda? I haven't told him yet, but it's not a big deal. I let out a silent, self-deprecating laugh, wiping my tears. The clear salt water mixed with the bright red blood, staining my clothes. Just like my totally shattered heart right now. It doesn't matter where they move. It doesn't matter if I know or not. Because to Liu Ruya, I'm literally just a nobody now. God, how could I be so stupid? Only now do I get it. I turned around in a daze and hailed a random cab. I didn't want to go home. I told the driver to just drive aimlessly and turned off my phone. I couldn't stand hearing Liu Ruyan's voice. We stopped downtown. I got out, only to get absolutely wrecked by an e-bike running a red light. The bike sped off, leaving me covered in scrapes and bruises. But I didn't even make a sound. It just felt like a release. I guess my condition is really getting worse. My alter ego is toxic and depressed. He constantly wants to end it all. I know all about it. When I was 8, seeing my dad's and mom's completely mangled bodies, the trauma was so intense that my mind fractured into two personalities. I have zero secrets from Liu Ruyan, except for this. I am terrified to tell her. I'm scared she'll think I'm a psycho and lock me in a psych ward. But whatever, it doesn't matter anymore. Getting locked up or dying, it really doesn't make a difference now. Because, honestly, nobody in this world gives a damn about me. I whipped out my phone and sent my transcripts and resume to the Duke University basketball team in the US. Since I have to leave the past behind eventually, I refuse to always be the one left in the dust. 10 p.m. I walked home alone. The moment I got downstairs, the streetlights flickered on. She looked exhausted, clearly having waited for a long time. She asked, "Gee, Boda, where have you been? Why is your phone off? I've been looking for you all day." When she saw my scrapes, she freaked out. Grabbing my shoulders, she asked, "What happened? Hurry inside. Let me help you. Put some meds on." Liu Ruyan pulled me into the house. The lights inside were bright and cozy, but my entire body felt freezing cold. Ever since I saw Liu Ruyan, I hadn't said a single word, just stared blankly ahead. Liu Ruyan carefully cleaned and bandaged all my wounds and poured me a glass of water. I politely thanked her. "Thanks." Seeing me snap out of it, Liu Ruyan finally let out a sigh of relief. She knew something definitely went down today, and maybe I wasn't ready to spill the tea. But there was one thing she had to confront me about. She asked, "My assistant told me you submitted your college apps this afternoon to the US. Why the sudden move abroad?" I just stared at Liu Ruyan, my eyes full of mixed emotions. I asked, "Your assistant cares about me that much?" Liu Ruyan frowned, sounding a little pissed off. "Of course not. I told him to keep an eye on you." I flashed a self-deprecating smirk and said, "Oh, so it's you who cares about me so much." My tone clearly made Liu Ruyan uncomfortable. Plus, me ghosting her all day had her choked up with anxiety and worry, making her voice sound pretty harsh. "Of course I care about you," she said. "What is that supposed to mean? Are you complaining that I haven't treated you well enough?" I shook my head, my voice super low. "No, you're my savior, basically my second parent. Without you, I wouldn't be alive today. I know that." Liu Ruyan let out a helpless sigh, sounding completely drained. She said, "That's not what I meant. Going abroad is a huge deal. You should have at least talked to me about it." I set down my water glass, my tone flat, but a little salty. "You're literally moving to another city. You didn't discuss that with me either, did you?" I figured it didn't matter, and we could just make our own solo decisions. Liu Ruyan was left speechless. She connected the dots instantly and realized what was up. "Oh." Frowning, her voice dropped. "The files the assistant dropped off today. You saw them." I stayed completely silent, a storm of emotions churning inside me. Liu Ruyan sighed, sounding genuinely guilty. "I do plan on moving," she said. "I just hadn't had the chance to tell you yet. But, since you've already decided to go abroad, let's just drop it." With that, she walked into her bedroom and brought out a gorgeous gift box for me. "Open it," she said. "Here is your graduation gift." I took it, my heart racing, and opened it. Inside was a sick pair of custom basketball shoes. The Duke University basketball logo was stitched on them. It was literally my ultimate dream item. When I was a kid and saw a Duke basketball game on TV for the first time, I was obsessed. I swore I'd become a top-tier basketball player. I even naively asked Liu Ruyan for a pair of Duke basketball shoes. She had smiled and said yes back then, but I knew it was hard to get, so I thought she was just humoring me. But now, these shoes were actually right in front of me. Liu Ruyan patted my shoulder, saying encouragingly, I know, you've always wanted these. I promised you, and I didn't break my promise. Wear them next time you hit the court. Do you like them? In that exact moment, my frozen heart started to melt again. I stammered, I love them, thank you. But right next to the emotion was pure despair. A woman like this who I'm so insanely addicted to. I'll probably never be able to get over her in my lifetime. I carried the shoes downstairs, put them next to me, and drifted off to sleep. In my dream, I saw two versions of myself. One was cowardly and sad, wanting to distance himself from Liu Ruyan, to stop being her burden. The other was furious and bitter, screaming that if I couldn't have her, I should destroy her. Liu Ruyan doesn't love you. You should get revenge. How could she not love you? Suddenly, I felt myself stepping into thin air. A wave of terrifying weightlessness hit me. I jolted awake from the nightmare. Opening my eyes, all I saw was stark white. Turns out, I was lying in a hospital bed. The nurse heard me move and rushed over. Mr. G, you're finally awake. Your wounds got infected last night, and your fever spiked to 104. Are you still feeling sick? I shook my head and asked with a raspy voice, who brought me here? She said, it was Ms. Lio, but she had an emergency at the company and had to go. She'll be back to check on you later. I pulled out my phone and pulled up the pic I took of those basketball shoes yesterday. Just then, my phone got spammed with a bunch of texts, all from Liu Ruyan. After hearing, I woke up. She sent messages full of concern. She asked, finally awake, tell Auntie what you want to eat. I'll buy it all and bring it over. G. Boda, you need to take care of yourself. Stop getting hurt and sick. Auntie is seriously worried about you. As I read them, my nose stung. I clutched the phone tightly to my chest, right over my heart. Liu Ruyan is such a responsible, admirable person. Back then, everyone told her to leave me alone. But only Liu Ruyan stepped up to take charge of my life, without a single complaint. She's an amazing partner too. She just doesn't belong to me. I was too greedy. I had absolutely nothing to begin with anyway. Then, on the screen, I slowly typed out my final decision. Word by word, I wrote, for my high school graduation. She gave me custom basketball shoes. I'm an adult now. It's time to leave you and let you go. As I typed the final period, a sharp, stabbing pain hit my heart. My head felt like it was splitting open. I struggled to smash the deepest wound on my leg, hard against the corner of the bed. Once, twice, until I was drenched in cold sweat. Only then did the toxic, insane urge fade away, shaking all over. I dialed a phone number. I said, Doctor, your meds aren't working for me anymore. What do I do? I don't want to turn into someone I don't even recognize. On the other end, the doctor sighed. G. Boda, your condition can no longer be controlled by medication. I've been secretly seeing a therapist all these years, trying my hardest to act normal, but mental illness is so hard to cure. The doctor said, what you need to do is stay as far away as possible from the person who triggers your mental breakdowns. Otherwise, there's no telling when you might completely lose control and do something to her. Night fell, but Liu Ruyan still wasn't home. Just as I was bored out of my mind, the person I least wanted to see showed up. Ito Cheng knocked and walked in with a smirk. He said, Jiboda, how's your recovery going? Your aunt is swamped with company stuff. She worried you'd be lonely at the hospital, so she sent me to take you home. I frowned, totally not knowing how to vibe with him alone. Ito Cheng casually sat on the edge of the bed and started peeling fruit. As he peeled, he said, Jiboda, I probably shouldn't say this, but you're a grown man now. You need to understand some things. Ruyan is super busy, but lately she's constantly stressing over you. Do you really think that's okay? My throat felt dry, and I barely managed to choke out. No. Ito Cheng smirked. Glad you get it. Ruyan and I are prepping for our wedding right now. She's definitely going to have even less time for you. You're not going to cause drama for us, right? I didn't take the fruit he handed me, but asked him pointedly, and you won't cause drama for the wedding either, right? Ito Cheng froze. For a second, a look of hostility and defensiveness flashing in his eyes. But he quickly put his fake smile back on. Of course not. I'm her husband. I'm spending my life with her. I love her more than anything. Why would I ever put her in a tough spot? I forced a tight smile, just hoping Ito Cheng would keep his word, and not hurt the best woman in the world. I quickly changed clothes, and left the hospital with him. As the car drove past a luxury jewelry store, Ito Cheng suddenly told the driver to pull over. He turned to me and said, "The custom wedding rings Ruyan and I ordered are ready. Since we're right here, come in with me to pick them up." My first instinct was to say no, but then I realized, the person putting the wedding ring on Liu Ruyan's finger is never going to be me in this lifetime. I might as well go look. I followed Ito Cheng into the jewelry store. The sales associate eagerly presented the dazzling wedding rings. They were so brilliant, it felt like they were burning my eyes. Ito Cheng went to the restroom, and the sales associates scattered, leaving me sitting alone on the lounge sofa, staring at the sparkling rings on the tray, like I was possessed by a demon. I swallowed hard, and slowly reached out my hand. My fingertips were barely an inch away, when a sound came from behind. Jiboda. I jolted, and instantly snatched my hand back, like a thief caught in the act. Liu Ruyan walked over, seeing how startled I was. She asked with an amused smile, "Why are you zoning out, staring at the rings? Do you not like them?" Like I have any right to not like them. Liu Ruyan sat next to me, and felt my forehead. My temp was normal. She said, "I asked Cheng to pick you up. Are you guys getting along? Okay." I nodded, and stayed quiet. Liu Ruyan didn't mind. She picked up the ring, and slid it onto her ring finger. My eyes were glued to her hand. In countless dreams, I was the one slipping the ring of forever onto her finger. Liu Ruyan looked around and asked, "Where's Cheng?" Without waiting for an answer, she just grabbed the men's ring and held it up to me. "Since he's not here, can you try it on for him?" In that moment, selfishness and greed completely hijacked my brain again. So, I reached out for the ring that was never meant for me. But right before I could touch it, someone interrupted. Ito Cheng jogged back like a gust of wind, acting all surprised. "Ruyan, you made it!" Before he even finished his sentence, he snatched the ring right out of Liu Ruyan's hand, and slid it onto his own finger. Ito Cheng pulled Liu Ruyan into a hug. I furrowed my brows, fighting down the emotions bubbling up inside me, and looked away. I totally missed the vicious, hateful glare in Ito Cheng's eyes. After trying the rings, the three of us got in the car. I sat in the back, listening to them talk about how they were going to throw the wedding of the century middle of next month. My whole face fell. I asked, completely shook, "What date did you just say you picked?" Ito Cheng replied, "The 16th. Had an expert pick out an auspicious date to bless us with a lifetime of happiness." I ignored him and stared straight at Liu Ruyan. "Did you forget what July 16th is?" Liu Ruyan's eyes darkened. She hesitated. "I didn't forget." "Jiboda, listen to me." Ito Cheng cut in. "I know it's Ruyan's cousin's, and your dad's death anniversary. I was actually the one who suggested it. You can't stay trapped in the past forever. You gotta move forward, right? We're doing this to give the departed some peace of mind." He sounded so self-righteous. Liu Ruyan frowned slightly but didn't say a word. I was in disbelief and completely helpless. Moving forward basically just means abandoning me, right? The driver dropped Ito Cheng off at home first. Then, Liu Ruyan told the driver to turn around and head to the villa. When we got out, Liu Ruyan linked arms with me. She said, "It's super dark out here, and my night vision is bad. Let me hold on to you." I felt so flattered, feeling the rare warmth of her fingertips. I asked, "Why did you bring me here?" She shushed me, and led me inside the building. She clapped her hands. The next second, all the lights snapped on. I stared at everything in front of me, totally stunned. Rows of BMWs, motorcycles, and Maseratis were glowing. Under the lights, Liu Ruyan leaned against a motorcycle, like a car model, and asked, "Do I look good?" I nodded dumbly. "Beautiful, you look gorgeous." Liu Ruyan smiled, satisfied. She grabbed my hand and pulled me toward the motorcycle. She asked, Wanna hop on and try it? I felt like I was literally dreaming. I got on the motorcycle, looking down at Liu Ruyan, wanting to kiss her so badly. Liu Ruyan pulled out her phone, snapped a pic of me, and showed it to me. She laughed. Jiboda, you actually look like a knight. But, then again, you've always been my little knight protecting me. Jiboda, I know, picking that date for the wedding really upset you. Honestly, it hurts me too. But we both need to move on. It's not about forgetting, it's about remembering them in a different way. I sighed. I understand. Basically, Liu Ruyan knew I'd be totally pissed about this. So, she got me this gift to make up for it. I nodded. Okay, I get it. Liu Ruyan nodded too, and said, I knew you were a good kid. Alright, get down now. If you get it dirty, Ito Cheng is going to be mad at me. I felt like I got struck by lightning. I couldn't believe my own ears. I asked, what did you say? She said, this is what we're going to use for the wedding. I knew you'd love it. So, I brought you here to see it early. My heart instantly plummeted from the clouds straight into the abyss. No, even the abyss would be better than this moment. I couldn't gatekeep my emotions anymore. I slapped Liu Ruyan's phone out of her hand. Is this just clout to you? I hissed. Do you think I'm some pathetic lost cause? I don't need your charity. Liu Ruyan looked completely lost. She didn't get why, after my birthday, I was suddenly so toxic and moody. What kind of BS are you spitting? She asked. I honestly don't get you anymore. What do I even have to do to make you happy? Haven't you always been obsessed with this stuff? I dug my nails into the wounds, hidden under my sleeves. Panicking, I pushed Liu Ruyan aside and bolted out of the car. This was too cruel. Both versions of me were absolutely shredded. I sprinted down the mountain like a madman. I lost my shoes along the way, leaving my feet bloodied and raw. When I finally ran out of gas, I just collapsed on a roadside bench. The world is huge, but the second Liu Ruyan abandoned me, I had nowhere left to go. Maybe she was used to me staying out late, because this time, Liu Ruyan didn't come looking. I crawled back home at 5 a.m. and I packed a few essentials. I couldn't stay in her place anymore. Over the years, I'd saved up quite a bit from my tournament prize money. I hesitated at the door for a long time, but finally took the basketball shoes she gave me. That fake happy ending was never mine. I dragged my suitcase to a hotel and checked in. Shortly after, there was a knock at the door. It was actually Ito Cheng. I instinctively tried to slam the door. I didn't want to see his face. But Ito Cheng forced his way in anyway. He casually plopped down on the sofa. Jiboda, he said. What now? Leaving home to hide here. Do you know Ruyan didn't sleep a wink because of you? I had to spend all night coddling her. Ito Cheng stretched his neck tiredly. I saw the glaring red hickeys on his neck. My face went pale as a ghost. Was that how Ito Cheng coddled her? Certain images flashed uncontrollably in my mind. Nausea hit me like a truck. I rushed to the bathroom and gagged. Ito Cheng slowly followed me, leaning against the doorframe. He stared at me with pure disgust, like I was some clown. It only took a tiny dose to trigger you into this state. He'd been sick of this burden for a long time. So what if Liu Ruyan hasn't let him touch her yet? She'll eventually be his. Body, soul, and bank account. Ito Cheng smirked and walked over. He knelt beside me. Jiboda, what's the point of acting so pathetic? Ruyan won't even look at you. She took you to see those cars, right? But once I said I didn't want you seeing them first. She said she'd scrap the whole thing and get new ones. You only deserve my scraps. Get it? I was too choked up with tears to speak. I knew Ito Cheng was a total villain. Why did Liu Ruyan trust him so much? Why was she so good to him? Why did she love him? Ito Cheng casually dropped his final trump card. Oh, and another thing. You told Ruyan about me being with that woman at the restaurant, right? Guess what? She loves me too much. She said, even if I actually betrayed her, she would still forgive me. As long as I don't leave her, I completely lost it. I could handle her not wanting me, or her loving someone else. But I couldn't handle such an amazing woman, simping so hard for a piece of trash like Ito Cheng. How could she? In an instant, my expression turned vicious. It was like another person had hijacked my brain. I started smashing everything in sight. Debris flew at Ito Cheng. slicing a gash into his hand, terrified by my psycho episode. Debris flew at Ito Cheng, slicing a gash into his hand, terrified by my psycho episode. Ito Cheng ran off screaming. I could clearly feel my mind splitting in two. That other soul living inside me was becoming impossible to suppress. I was scared. What if I actually go insane and hurt Liu Ruiyan? No, I can't let that happen. I bit the tip of my tongue hard. The metallic taste of blood cleared my head a bit. I slumped back to the bed like a zombie and picked up the basketball shoes I'd kept so carefully. The gratitude I felt before now felt like a total mockery. I actually thought for a second that Liu Ruiyan could love me back. Just then, the phone rang. It was Liu Ruiyan. I shakily answered the call. Her voice on the other end was colder than ice. She asked, "Jiboda, have you lost your mind? Ito Cheng tried to help you, but you actually hurt him. How did you become like this? I am so disappointed in you. If you don't apologize and reflect, don't bother coming back." She hung up without even hearing my side. I clenched my teeth, shaking my head frantically. Suddenly, a violent rage exploded in my chest. My body felt like it was no longer mine. I raised my arm and hurled the basketball shoes right out the window. For a split second I felt a rush of release, but then I snapped out of it. I frantically rushed to the window and looked down. We were too high up. The shoes were nowhere to be seen. No, that wasn't me. It was the other me. I didn't want to throw them away. That might be the last gift she ever gives me. I broke down, punching my own head. If I were just a normal person, would I still have messed everything up? All I wanted was to get that gift back. I leaned my entire upper body out the window, searching desperately with wide eyes. Then, in the far-off bushes below, I saw something glowing. Standing beside it was the person I missed most. She looked up and waved at me, like she was saying, "Jiboda, I'm taking you home." A cool breeze brushed past my face. I took a leap. "Liu Ruiyan, I'm coming home with you." Liu Ruiyan woke up with a start, full of dread. She suddenly thought of Jiboda. Was he actually right about everything? She decided she'd pick him up once it was. Liu Ruiyan got up to pour a glass of water, but her hand slipped. The glass fell and shattered into pieces. At that exact moment, her phone rang like a death knell. Liu Ruiyan's heart started racing. A panicked woman's voice was on the line. "Is this Miss Liu? Mr. Jiboda just took a leap from the building." Liu Ruiyan was scared to death, rushing straight out the door. She didn't even change out of her pajamas. She didn't even feel the glass shards in her feet. She drove like a maniac to the hospital, seeing the red surgery in progress sign. Liu Ruiyan finally felt the pain. It was so intense she could barely breathe. Nurses and doctors swarmed her, shoving paperwork for her to sign. Critical condition notice. Her hands were shaking uncontrollably, her vision blurring. She signed the hardest document of her life. The doctor said, "Don't lose hope just yet." Even though he fell from the 18th floor, he actually got pretty lucky. There was a safety net on the 16th floor. They caught him in time. So he still has a fighting chance. "Thank you." After the nurse left, Liu Ruiyan slumped against the wall, her eyes totally bloodshot. They caught him in time. So he still has a fighting chance. "Thank you." After the nurse left, Liu Ruiyan slumped against the wall, her eyes totally bloodshot. She couldn't understand how things got so messed up. Everything was literally fine before. What the hell happened? That made him want to end it all. Liu Ruiyan was drowning in regret. It had to be the thing she said on the phone. It was her fault, all her fault. In this entire world, Jiboda literally had no family left besides her. The more she thought about it, the more she broke down. She just wanted Jiboda to be safe. She just wanted him to live. Just then, a woman walked over. She sized up the haggard-looking Liu Ruiyan, walked up to her, and asked, "Ms. Liu, are you really just his aunt?" Liu Ruiyan snapped her head back and glared at her. "Who are you?" The woman gave a casual smirk. "I'm the one who saved Jiboda's life. I found him at the hotel and called the ambulance." Liu Ruiyan's expression softened a bit. She said, "Thank you so much. Name your price, whatever you want." The woman shrugged. "Sorry, Miss Liu. The Yu family doesn't need your pocket change." Liu Ruyan froze, finally realizing why she looked familiar. She was Yu Yawei, the second heiress of the Yu family. The Yu family was Liu's corporate rival, though Liu Ruyan never really saw them as a threat. She said, "Oh, it's Ms. Yu. What a coincidence. I owe you one for this." Liu Ruyan wasn't in the mood for small talk with Yu Yawei. She just wanted to get back to watching over him. But Yu Yawei didn't let her leave. She said, "Ms. Liu, you haven't answered my question." "What?" Liu Ruyan recalled the first thing Yu Yawei had said. Frowning, she shot back, "Of course I'm his aunt." "What are you implying?" Yu Yawei chuckled and said, "Nothing. Nothing at all. Just fact-checking. Word on the street is that Ms. Liu is playing out some taboo romance trope." Liu Ruyan blanked for a sec, then snapped, "What kind of BS are you talking about?" Yu Yawei just kept her smiling face. She said, "Well, where there's smoke, there's fire, right? I'm just curious." Liu Ruyan bit her lip. "Those are completely fake rumors. If I hear them again, I'm literally suing for defamation." Yu Yao waved her hands and said, "All right. Don't get triggered, Miss Liu. But there's something I probably should say." Liu Ruyan frowned. "Spill," she said, "even if you only care about Mr. Jiboda as family. Have you ever thought about how your fiancé feels? What guy wouldn't care about rumors surrounding his girl? Men are territorial, you know." "Just saying." Hearing this, Liu Ruyan's pupils shrank, as if she realized something, but she didn't say anything. She just gave Yu Yawei a deep look, brushed past her, and said, "Thanks for the heads up." Yu Yawei didn't look at Liu Ruyan either, just leaned against the window, with a playful look. An hour later, the surgery light turned off. Liu Ruyan went into full panic mode, walking up with heavy steps. Thankfully, the doctor looked relaxed. He said, "Good news, Mr. Ji is stable for now. As long as he makes it through 48 hours in the ICU, he can be moved to a regular room." "Thank you, doctor." Soon after, the hospital bed was rolled out. Liu Ruyan immediately rushed over. She saw Jiboda's completely pale face, lying quietly in the stark white sheets. She touched his cheek. It was freezing cold. She quickly rubbed her hands together and pressed them against his face, wanting him to feel at least a tiny bit of warmth. While unconscious, Liu Ruyan looked down at Jiboda, and suddenly realized that the naughty little boy from the past had grown up so much without her even noticing. After a while, she finally mustered the courage to ask the doctor exactly what injuries Jiboda sustained. The doctor said, "Thanks to the safety net, Mr. G's spine wasn't damaged. He has a mild concussion and a broken right arm. The life-threatening injury was a fractured rib, puncturing his organs. But the surgery was highly successful." Liu Ruyan remembered how stubborn he was as a kid, holding back tears over a scraped hand. With all these injuries, he must be in so much agony. The doctor added, "The team at the hotel mentioned Mr. G's room had signs of things being smashed. He seemed incredibly emotionally unstable before jumping. As his family, you should really look out for him when he wakes up." "Thank you." Liu Ruyan's heart ached with a sharp, dense pain. His emotional breakdown was definitely because of her, wasn't it? It was her fault. Just then, her phone rang. Liu Ruyan looked at the caller ID, her expression turning cold. She answered it anyway. On the other end, Eo Cheng sounded super energetic. He asked, "Ruyan, you up? We're scheduled to shoot our wedding photos today. Don't be late." Hearing this, Liu Ruyan thought about Yu Yawei's pointed words from earlier. She looked up at the ICU, at the still unconscious Jiboda, and made her decision. "We're not shooting the photos," she said, "and we're calling off the wedding." You could literally hear Eo Cheng hyperventilating in shock. But Liu Ruyan didn't want to say another word, and just hung up. Right now, nothing mattered more than Jiboda. If Jiboda didn't want her to get married, she could literally stay single forever. She absolutely would not let anyone around her cause Jiboda even the slightest harm. And just like that, Liu Ruyan called her assistant to the hospital, worked remotely from there, and hired bodyguards to block the hospital entrance, to stop Ito Cheng from finding her. She didn't want to explain a single thing. It was only then that Liu Ruyan realized how cold-blooded she actually was. Or maybe, what she felt for Ito Cheng was never actually love. In this entire world, Ji Boda was the only person she truly cared about. 2 days later, Ji Boda's vitals normalized, and he was moved to a regular room, but he still showed zero signs of waking up. Liu Ruyan fully believed Ji Boda would wake up eventually. He wouldn't have the heart to leave her, all alone in this world. Ji Boda was the sweetest boy. A week later, Ji Boda finally opened his eyes. He stared at the stark white hospital room for a long time, as if just snapping back to reality. Then he shifted his gaze to Liu Ruyan's face. He looked at her for exactly 2 seconds, then shut his eyes without saying a word. Liu Ruyan was shook. She frantically called the doctor over to check him. The checkup showed all his stats were perfectly fine. The doctor thought for a second and said, "It might be psychological trauma. If the patient doesn't want to see you right now, it's best for family to give him some space." Liu Ruyan's heart was absolutely shattered. She couldn't understand. After finally surviving a near-death experience, why didn't he want to see her anymore? Liu Ruyan sat completely alone outside the room. Her assistant suddenly walked over and handed her a phone. "Ms. Liu, this is Mr. Ji's phone left at the hotel. They forgot to send it over earlier." Liu Ruyan nodded and took it. Suddenly, a storage full notification popped up. Liu Ruyan instinctively tapped it, and the phone auto-jumped to the files storage folder. She glanced at it, and totally froze. There were tons of voice memos saved, and the one at the very top was recorded the exact day Ji Boda jumped. Liu Ruyan tapped it without a second thought, but after listening for a few seconds, she realized the other guy's voice on the recording was Ito Cheng. Turns out, it was recorded when Ito Cheng went to the hotel to confront him. Ever since Ji Boda realized his condition was getting worse, he would record himself every time he was alone. And that day, Ito Cheng showed up uninvited. Liu Ruyan's face turned colder by the second as she listened. Ito Cheng actually went behind her back and spewed that toxic trash to Ji Boda. Ji Boda must have been so triggered by him that he did something drastic. Liu Ruyan was absolutely furious. She marched downstairs, drove straight to Ito Cheng's house, and kicked the door in it. Ito Cheng was looking all miserable. But, seeing Liu Ruyan, he was shocked first, then got super emotional. "Ruyan, where have you been? You ghosted me for a week. What is your deal? Why are we calling off the wedding?" Watching Ito Cheng act all worked up right now, Liu Ruyan just felt pure rage. She violently grabbed Ito Cheng by the collar and hissed, "That day at the hotel, who gave you the right to talk that BS to Ji Boda? I know everything. He didn't hurt you at all. You totally framed him." A flash of panic and fear crossed Ito Cheng's face, but he quickly grabbed Liu Ruyan's wrists tightly, trying to pull her into a hug. "Ruyan, listen to me. I didn't mean it. I was just jealous. Jealous that you treat him so well. How could I let my fiancé keep a rival around?" Liu Ruyan yanked her arms free and slapped him hard across the face. She screamed, "Ji Boda is just a kid." Ito Cheng clutched his face and yelled back, "A kid? You're the only one who still treats him like some clueless child. Liu Ruyan, I dare you to ask him if he has those filthy thoughts about you." Liu Ruyan froze. His face went completely dark. He said, "If Ito Cheng is delusional, he should get help. I have nothing to say to a psycho like you. The wedding is cancelled. Don't ever let me see your face again." Ito Cheng threatened her. "You wouldn't dare. My family has serious clout in this town. Aren't you scared my parents will ruin you for humiliating them?" Liu Ruyan shot back coldly, "Like I even care about them either." With that, she turned and walked away. Exposing Ito Cheng's true colors didn't make her sad at all. She only felt the rage of being played. Turns out she really didn't love him one bit. But why did she agree to date him in the first place? Was it because a lot of his interests matched Ji Boda's, which made him feel familiar and safe from the start? Walking out of the Yi family's house, Liu Ruyan immediately called her assistant to cut off all business ties with the Yi family. When she got back to the hospital, Ji Boda was having a nightmare. His brows were tightly knitted, his pale face drenched in sweat. He had bitten his lower lip so hard, it left deep marks. Liu Ruyan quickly put down the flowers, rushed to the bed and grabbed his hand. She whispered his name. Jibota, don't be scared. It's just a dream. Wake up and it'll all be fine. Hearing Liu Ruyan's voice in his dream actually managed to calm Jibota down. Liu Ruyan stayed right by his bedside, watching over him. It wasn't until sunset that I truly woke up. Seeing my hand holding Liu Ruyan's, I almost thought I was still dreaming. Liu Ruyan looked at me with deep concern and asked, "You're finally awake. Are you hurting anywhere?" I instinctively shook my head, my voice hoarse. "Auntie, what's the date today?" She said, "July 8th. My heart turned cold. I tried my best to force a smile for her. I said, "Did I really sleep for that long? But look at the time. Why are you still here with me? Isn't your wedding coming up super soon?" "I'm fine. You probably have so much to do. Don't worry about me." Seeing my pale, forced smile, Liu Ruyan felt a lump in her throat. She suddenly remembered the crazy BS Ito Chang said about Jibota having feelings for her. But, for some reason, she still didn't mention that she had already called off the engagement with Ito Chang. She said, "It's fine. I can handle it. Right now your health is the priority." A heavy, bitter feeling spread from my nose all the way down to my heart. Liu Ruyan has genuinely been too good to me. Even after I woke up, she didn't complain once. She just kept fussing over my health. You literally couldn't find a better person than her. Now that I'm back from the dead, it's time to wake up from the dream. I took a sip of water from the glass she held, pretending to be chill. "Right now, you should really be talking to uncle-in-law about your future." Liu Ruyan froze it for a second. She stared at my smile, analyzing it, but she couldn't detect a single trace of acting. She couldn't even tell if the feeling in her chest was relief or something else entirely. She knew Ito Chang was just spitting lies. How could Jibota ever have those kinds of thoughts about her, even though he was totally framed by Ito Chang, and she dragged him without even hearing him out? He wasn't holding a grudge at all. Liu Ruyan smiled and affectionately ruffled my hair. She said, "Stop overthinking it. All you need to do right now is rest up and put some weight back on." "Got it. You're way too skinny." I nodded. "Got it, thanks, Auntie." Liu Ruyan frowned. It felt like it had been forever since I called her Auntie. Hearing it right now for some reason just felt super grating to her. Right then, her phone rang. It was her assistant, rushing her to a negotiation. This business partner was a major VIP, so she couldn't ghost them. Since I was finally awake, she felt okay leaving to handle work. I said goodbye to Liu Ruyan, and then just laid back down. There was barely a bump under the blanket. I was literally as thin as paper. The next time I saw her was the following day. After her meeting last night, she had drinks with the clients. She got a little tipsy and didn't want to wake me, so she stayed home. It had been a while since she was hungover, and her head was throbbing. She kept her eyes closed on the drive to the hospital, so she completely missed the pair of eyes, full of toxic hatred trailing her the whole way. When Liu Ruyan walked into my room, my breakfast had just arrived. I was struggling to eat with my uninjured left hand. Seeing her walk in, I just gave her a nod and didn't say anything. I don't know why, but it felt like I didn't have anything left to say to her anymore. Trying to break the ice, she said, "Oh, right. The hotel sent over your phone a couple of days ago. Did you see it?" I nodded. She said, "I noticed your storage is almost full. Let me just buy you a new one." The second she said that, my whole body tensed up. I asked, "You looked through my phone?" Liu Ruyan didn't expect me to react so intensely, but she had only listened to that one recording that exposed Ito Chang's true colors. She didn't touch anything else. Of course, she respected my privacy. She said, "No." "Why?" she joked. "Don't tell me you have some secret stash on there." I thought about my notes app and the desperate entries I wrote about needing to get away from her. I shook my head. Thank God she didn't see them. Thank God she still didn't know how I felt. Otherwise, it would be way too cringe. Looking at me, Liu Ruyan wanted to tell me that she wasn't going to marry Ito Chang anymore, but before she could speak, we heard a massive commotion outside the door. "Jibota, get your ass out here." I jumped, dropping my spoon into my bowl. I looked out in sheer panic. It was Ito Chang, storming in like an absolute lunatic. He was waving a knife, his hair a mess, his eyes vicious. Any trace of class was gone. Seeing Liu Ruyan actually sitting there cutely having breakfast with me, he completely lost his mind. He raised the knife and charged right at us. Ever since I woke up, Liu Ruyan had dismissed all the security. She thought cutting all business ties with the Yi family would be enough of a punishment and warning for him. She never expected it would push him over the edge, making him storm the hospital to get revenge on me. He blamed the entire cancelled engagement completely on me. He figured, if Ji Boda hadn't been manipulating Liu Ruyan, playing the victim and talking trash about him, why wouldn't she marry him? Now, his cancelled wedding made him the laughingstock of the city. His parents lost major deals and were taking it out on him, and he wanted to settle the entire score with me. Who did Ji Boda think he was? Getting 100% of Liu Ruyan's affection. He didn't deserve it. With that twisted thought, Ito Chang raised the knife high and lunged straight at me on the bed. In my 18 years, I'd never made a single enemy. This was the first time I was ever in a situation like this. In a split second, Liu Ruyan didn't even think. She just threw herself over me, hugging me tight, taking Ito Chang's knife right in her back. Seeing that it was Liu Ruyan who took the hit, Ito Chang froze. He let out a scream, dropped the knife, and bolted for the door. But the security guards rushed in and pinned him hard to the floor. Liu Ruyan heard him wailing as they dragged him away. But she didn't care about him anymore. Pulling a stunt like this, her assistant would definitely make sure he rots in prison. All Liu Ruyan cared about right now was Ji Boda, fighting the agonizing pain in her back. She softly whispered, "Ji Boda, are you okay? Are you hurt?" I shook my head, absolutely frantic, and desperately grabbed her arm. I said, "I'm fine. What about you? You're bleeding everywhere." "Nurse, doctor, somebody's hurt." The medical staff rushed in and whisked Liu Ruyan away to treat her wound. Thankfully, Ito Chang probably didn't actually have the guts to kill someone, so he didn't use full force. The gash on her back was super long, but not deep. Still, she needed over a dozen stitches. Once I got the news, I ignored the doctor telling me to stay in bed. Clutching my stomach, I slowly dragged myself to the clinic door. My broken ribs had punctured my liver, so every tiny movement was pure agony. But I was way too worried about her. When I reached the door, I saw Liu Ruyan lying face down on the bed. Next to her was a pile of bloody gauze. It was a glaring, blinding red. I felt like my own heart was hurting with hers. I had dragged her down yet again. I thought back to what my therapist said to me back then. Maybe leaving her is the only way to actually protect her. She's been the one raising me and protecting me my whole life. Now, it's my turn to protect her. I didn't go in. I just sat quietly outside, waiting for her to get dressed and come out. Seeing me at the door, she looked surprised. She asked, "Why are you out of bed? Didn't the doctor say walking would hurt? Aren't you in pain?" I shook my head and said, "You're in pain too." Liu Ruyan looked touched. She said, "I'm fine, as long as you're okay." I knew she meant every word, but right now, I cared about something else way more. I asked, "Did you and Ito Chang get into a fight? The date is literally right around the corner. Pulling a stunt like this, what's gonna happen to the wedding?" Liu Ruyan paused and said, "I already cancelled the wedding. I just haven't had the chance to tell you yet." I wasn't too shocked. If Liu Ruyan hadn't done something, Ito Chang wouldn't have suddenly snapped like a total psycho. I asked, "Why? Weren't you guys endgame? How can you just cancel it like that? You're not the type to treat marriage as a joke." Liu Ruyan was amused by my trying to be an adult tone. We supported each other and slowly walked back. She sighed softly and said, "Ji Boda, I know everything that happened at the hotel that day. Ito Chang was out of line and said things he shouldn't have. You didn't hurt him. I completely misunderstood you. I shouldn't have gone off on you like that. I'm sorry." My grip tightened. So it really was because of me. Me randomly jumping off a building. Definitely put a ton of pressure on her and messed with their relationship. If I had heard the news about the cancelled engagement a little earlier, I would have been over the moon. But now, I just wanted to sigh. If it's not Ito Chang, it'll eventually be someone else. Liu Ruyan is such a catch. She definitely has a ton of guys simping over her. And I'm the most average one. And the one who absolutely shouldn't be in the running. One night, Liu Rian was still sleeping in my room. I couldn't sleep. I just laid in bed staring blankly at the moon outside. Suddenly, I heard Liu Ruyan make a sound. I jolted up, went over to check, and realized she was running a fever. Her wound must have gotten infected. I found a cooling patch, wanting to put it on her first, before getting a doctor to hook her up to an IV. But, the second I leaned in, Liu Ruyan, still asleep, suddenly grabbed my hand and pulled me toward her. Her gorgeous face was right in front of me. I literally held my breath. The next second, her red lips parted, and she mumbled a name. Io Cheng. I felt like I'd been struck by lightning. I stood frozen for a long time. I let out a bitter laugh. What was I still being delulu about? But that face right in front of me was too mesmerizing. It was the face I had secretly treasured in my heart for 10 years. It was the dead of night. The moonlight, like water, turning this tiny space into a private world for just me and the girl I love. Can I just do it once? Just one kiss. Just as a parting gift from Liu Ruyan. This afternoon, I already got my acceptance letter from the US. With almost zero hesitation, I booked my flight. July 16th, my dad's death anniversary, and Liu Ruyan's original wedding date. I gently closed my eyes, leaned down, and reverently placed a kiss on her red lips. It was as light as a snowflake melting the second it lands, and as silent as my longing and heartbreak. The woman suddenly made a noise. I was scared, half to death. I shot up so fast, I pulled my wound and winced in pain. Liu Ruyan slowly opened her eyes, seeing me sitting next to her all scrunched up. She looked confused. What's wrong? She just had a nightmare about what happened during the day. This time, the second Ito Cheng showed up. She slapped him right across the face. She was just about to say, Ito Cheng, go to hell, when suddenly, the person in her dream turned into me. Liu Ruyan realized she was way too close to me, and awkwardly pulled back to create some distance. The next second, she felt like it was snowing. A freezing cold snowflake landed on her lips. And then, she woke up. I gathered my thoughts, and said, "You're running a fever. I'll go get the doctor." For some reason, watching me rush out, Liu Ruyan smiled slightly. At a time like this, the person staying by her side, it really felt like it was always meant to be Jai Boda. 2 days later, Liu Ruyan and I were discharged. She insisted I stay at her place for now, hired 2 maids and a nurse to take care of me, and even gave me her master bedroom. But I couldn't sleep soundly. It felt like time I had stolen. Liu Ruyan's immune system is way better than mine. Once, her fever broke. It was like her wound didn't even exist. She immediately went back to the office to pull an all-nighter. At 2 a.m. and, lying in bed, I heard the lock turn. Liu Ruyan was finally back from work. But there was another woman with her. It was Liu Ruyan's bestie, Shu Tingting, who was also her senior executive assistant. The two sat down on the couch. After talking business, they switched to gossip. Shu Tingting swirled her wine and said, "So, Ruyan, what's the tea with you and the Yi family's heir? You guys just called it quits, just like that." Liu Ruyan said coldly, "He lied to me." Shu Tingting laughed. She said, "You really are way too good to Jiboda. I told you before, your future husband is definitely gonna get jealous." Liu Ruyan scoffed coldly. "That's pure BS. Jiboda is basically my own kid. How could I not treat him well?" Shu Tingting shot back. "But have you ever thought about it? With a dynamic like yours, who's gonna dare to marry you? They always be paranoid about Jiboda." Liu Ruyan said, "Whatever. He doesn't want me to get married anyway." Shu Tingting was literally left speechless. She had no idea what was going through Liu Ruyan's head. I heard their entire conversation, loud and clear, since I was still wide awake. Liu Ruyan actually noticed that I didn't want her to get married, and she was even willing to compromise on that. I'm honestly so content. In the future, from the other side of the world, I'll genuinely wish her all the happiness. I can't let myself hold her back anymore. The next day, I insisted on moving back to my downstairs apartment. I was all alone, struggling to pack my bags with one hand, refusing to let Liu Ruyan inside. Liu Ruyan was confused, but she was slammed with work lately, so she didn't push it too much. The days flew by. On July 15th, before the sun even came up, I hired someone to take my luggage to the airport. Then, I went to the cemetery alone to visit my dad and stepmom. I said, Dad, Auntie, I'm going abroad. It's been my dream forever. To Duke University. You guys must be so proud of me, right? I got a little banged up a few days ago, but I'll heal up quick. It won't mess with my basketball game. Little Auntie has taken such good care of me all these years. I am so grateful to her. But I really can't keep freeloading off her anymore. After visiting my dad and stepmom, I wiped my tears, smiled as I left the cemetery, and took a cab straight to the airport. By the time Liu Ruyan wakes up, I should already be on the plane. The goodbye email I drafted for her is already scheduled to send. Let's just say goodbye like this. My dearest little auntie, at exactly 7 a.m. now. Liu Ruyan woke up, changed into a black dress, and went downstairs to knock on my door. But there was zero answer. Liu Ruyan panicked. She knew my passcode, so she punched it in and opened the door. But the apartment looked like nobody had ever lived there. It was spotless. The furniture was even covered in dust sheets. Liu Ruyan's mind went completely blank. She dashed inside. It was totally empty. Trembling, she pulled out her phone and called me, only to hear that my phone was turned off. What did this mean? Ghosting her. Everything was literally fine a couple of days ago. Why? Where could he possibly go? Was he still mad that she trusted the wrong person and blamed him? But she already knew she messed up. Ding. A new email notification. Liu Ruyan had a gut feeling and immediately opened it. The very first line read, Little Auntie, I'm gone. Please, don't look for me. 3 years later, Luosheng, I was subbing in for an injured basketball player, returning to play a match. The Liu group was the main sponsor. I politely nodded to the crowd, then sprinted onto the court. I've shot countless three-pointers. Every release and shot is as natural as the blood running in my veins. The crowd went wild, screaming and cheering. Everyone was totally hyped by my skills. But right before the game ended, I slipped up, because the second the spotlight swept across the audience, I suddenly spotted a familiar face. Off-court, the moment Liu Ruyan saw me step on the court, she shot straight up. She crushed her water bottle without even realizing it. Her eyes were red, and her voice shook as she asked her assistant, Did you invite the American basketball team? The assistant was confused. When did Boss Liu ever care about this? He said, Yes, Miss Liu, but we got a last-minute update this morning that the original player had an accident, so they sent another star player. Since you never really cared about these details before, I didn't report it to you. This assistant was hired after Liu Ruyan moved to Luosheng, so he had zero clue about the history between the player on the court and his boss. Liu Ruyan waved him off, her eyes locked entirely on one person. Nobody knew that this scene had played out in her dreams for 3 years. Countless times, she missed G. Boda. As the game went on, Liu Ruyan walked straight towards the court. Likewise, Liu Ruyan also saw my split-second panic. Nobody in the arena caught my zoning out or my mistake, except for Liu Ruyan. Liu Ruyan knew I'd played ball since I was a kid, so I inevitably had some old injuries. My left ankle had a habitual sprain, and what I just twisted happened to be my left ankle. Liu Ruyan's heart simply clenched. Even after 3 years apart, worrying and hurting for me was just her instinct. On the court, I finished the game totally distracted and walked off, taking the jacket the assistant handed me. I hurried towards the locker room. I wanted to change and bounce immediately. I wasn't ready yet to play some long time no see, respectful distance charade with that person. The second I opened the locker room door, a massive bouquet of Iceland poppies and peonies was shoved in my face. I looked up in surprise. I asked, Why are you here? Yu Yowei set the flowers aside and said, You fly back without even giving me a heads up. Aren't you bored alone? I missed you, so I ran back to find you. I was already totally used to this heiress's clinginess. I laughed. Please. I'm flying back to the US tomorrow right after the game. It's not like I'm settling down here, she said. Well, I still wasn't risking it. A hot guy like you shows up. What if some fangirls snatch you up? Yu Yowei's banter actually eased my panic a bit. I met Yu Yowei 3 years ago, when I first got to the US. She was studying finance near my school. That day, Yui ran into some bikers on the street. She got robbed and hit. I was nice enough to take her to the hospital. Ever since then, Yui just stuck to me, yelling about how she'd be my servant for life, to repay me for saving her. And just like that, we became besties who talked about everything for 3 years. So many times when it rained, Yui brought me an umbrella. When I had a fever late at night, Yui took me to the hospital. Even my did episodes, Yui witnessed them firsthand, in a foreign country. This was basically our own way of depending on each other. Seeing me finally crack a smile, Yu quickly grabbed my arm and pulled me to a chair. She asked, "What was up with you out there?" You zoned out right at the end. "Did you tweak your ankle again?" I was shocked. "You could even tell that." She said, "Duh. Is there anyone in the world who gets you better than I do?" Without asking, she pulled off my sneakers, took ointment out of her bag, and carefully rubbed it on. I didn't dodge, after all, however many times Yui had cramps. I took care of her too. But, was there really no one in the world who understood me better than Yui? My heart suddenly felt empty. There used to be someone, but now, we didn't exist in each other's lives anymore. After I left the court, Liu Ruyan rushed backstage. But along the way, too many VIPs swarmed her to network. With so many cameras, Liu Ruyan couldn't act too out of pocket, so she anxiously entertained them. But she was still too late. When she found my locker room, standing in the dark hallway, she saw the scene inside. A woman was bent over, smiling at me while rubbing ointment on my ankle, and I naturally reached out to tuck a stray hair behind her ear. In that moment, the pain she had been ignoring came rushing back. Liu Ruyan looked down at her cut palm. For a second, she was actually too scared to step forward. That hesitation cost her the moment. A loud commotion erupted behind her. Reporters armed with cameras were rushing to interview me. Seeing the crowd, Yui instantly switched back to her fangirl persona. She stood next to me, holding the mic and handing me water, and Liu Ruyan just stood there in the shadows, totally spaced out. Nobody even noticed she was there. A reporter smiled and asked, "We've heard rumors that Mr. G and the Yu family's second heiress are super close. Seeing is definitely believing. Any tea on when you two are taking the next step?" Yui raised an eyebrow at the camera and said, "I've practically begged him to marry me so many times, but Mr. G says it's too soon. I just do whatever he says." I panicked internally, but kept a straight face, shooting Yui a subtle glare. But, from an outsider's POV, it totally looked like we were flirting. Outside the door, Liu Ruyan stood frozen in shock, not believing her own ears. She recognized the woman next to me. It was Yui, the one who saved me at the hotel back then. She wondered when they met, and when they got together. Liu Ruyan felt dizzy, like her separation anxiety 3 years late was finally hitting her. She thought in Ji Boda's heart, she was already replaced. The 32-year-old Liu Ruyan, for the first time ever, felt inferior. The interview in the locker room was still going smoothly, with bursts of laughter. But Liu Ruyan couldn't find the courage to step over that threshold. She closed her eyes, tossed the flowers she was holding into the trash, and walked away. After barely surviving the interview, I was physically and mentally drained. Yui dismissed her assistant and took me back to the hotel. Just as we reached the underground parking lot, we heard people talking. A few workers were gathered around a Range Rover. Sounded like the car broke down. My heart randomly skipped a beat. Range Rover. My favorite car when I was a kid. Because the name sounded badass. Liu Ruyan drove one for years. Even though people said the car didn't fit her vibe, she never changed it. She'd just say, "My little prince likes it." I don't know if telepathy is actually a thing, but I suddenly turned my head involuntarily. I instantly saw that gorgeous silhouette across from me, faintly visible under the lights. Suddenly, everything else in the world faded into the background. Only the woman I hadn't seen in forever was glowing. My little auntie. Yui immediately noticed me, stopped, following my gaze. She realized who it was. She frowned subtly. Talk about a small world. Yu Yaowei asked. You know her. I acted like I didn't hear. I just stood there in a daze, staring blankly without moving. Just then, the guy in the suit in front of the Range Rover yelled, Miss Liu. The car's fixed. Liu Ruyan let out a deep sigh and slowly stepped out of the shadows. Meeting my gaze directly, she gave a small smile, hiding her slightly trembling hands behind her back. She said, Jiboda. Long time no see. I snapped out of it, frantically looking away, and mumbled little auntie so quietly you could barely hear it. Yu Yaowei raised an eyebrow and gave a fake, oh, like it was their first time meeting. She said, so you're the famous Liu. What an honor running into you here today. Liu Ruyan completely ignored her, keeping her eyes only on me. Her voice was super soft, too, like she was scared of startling something away. She asked, Jiboda, when did you get back? I replied, just got in today. Little auntie, why are you here? Liu Ruyan smiled and said, oh, I'm the one hosting today's tournament. In a flash, it all made sense, and I inevitably thought back to 3 years ago, when Liu Ruyan kept it from me, that she was moving to Luosheng with her fiancé. I thought, wow, even though the wedding didn't happen, Liu Ruyan still kept her promise to her fiancé. She came to Luosheng all alone. Is she still secretly missing him? Realizing I was spiraling, I dug my nails hard into my palm, leaving deep, curved marks. Why am I even thinking about this? It has nothing to do with me. Yu Yaowei noticed what I was doing, her heart dropping. She knew this was my automatic reaction. When my mental state was off, she quickly grabbed my hand, slowly pried my stiff clenched fingers apart, and held onto my hand tightly. The warmth from her fingertips snapped me out of it. I gave Yu Yaowei a grateful smile, then started the intros. I said, Yaowei, this is my little auntie, Liu Ruyan. Looks like you guys know each other. Little auntie, this is Yu Yaowei. She's my. Before I could figure out how to explain Yu Yaowei's status, Yu Yaowei jumped in. Wow, Jiboda, you actually have such a boss little auntie. How come you've never mentioned her to me before? She proactively reached her hand out to Liu Ruyan. She said, well then, I guess I should join Jiboda and call you little auntie, too. Hope you don't mind, little auntie. Liu Ruyan suddenly coughed a few times, then gave Yu Yaowei a brief handshake. She said softly, not at all. What Yu Yaowei just said made two things crystal clear. 1. In these 3 years, I haven't brought up Liu Ruyan once. 2. Wow, Yu Yaowei calling her little auntie along with me basically hard launched us as a couple, and I didn't deny it. Right, even in front of all those reporters earlier, I didn't deny it. Why would I go out of my way to clarify things to Liu Ruyan? After all, to me, right now, she's probably the most irrelevant person anyway. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bounced so decisively 3 years ago. Liu Ruyan stared at my fingers, intertwined with Yu Yaowei's. She didn't understand why she suddenly felt like she couldn't breathe. Liu Ruyan shook her head, ignoring that weird discomfort, and was the first to speak up. She said, it's been so long since we ran into each other, let's grab dinner. I was obviously gonna say no, but Yu Yaowei immediately said, yes. I didn't want Yu Yaowei to know how toxic things actually were between me and Liu Ruyan, so I just went with it. Yu Yaowei didn't let go of me, leading me towards the car. Yu Yaowei said, I know a really good Japanese spot around here. Let's go there. Liu Ruyan stopped in her tracks and said, he doesn't eat raw food. Before she could finish, I interrupted and agreed. Sure, it's been a minute since I had Japanese. Liu Ruyan watched the two of us walk to the car hand in hand. She felt a lump in her throat. Didn't Jiboda absolutely hate raw food? How could 3 years really change someone that much? Once we got to the restaurant, I truly understood the meaning of awkward AF. This was totally not on my bingo card, physically and mentally. I wasn't ready at all to just sit there and make polite small talk with Liu Ruyan. My eyes kept wanting to look at that face I hadn't seen in forever. It's like the last 3 years didn't age her a single day. It just gave her this even more captivating, mature vibe, and my heart was going crazy, all over the place. All because of her. From waking up, after jumping off that building 3 years ago, to flying to the US. I hadn't had a single episode. I naively thought that surviving death had completely killed off that other personality. But when I repeatedly woke up crying from endless nightmares, only to find myself self-harming, I knew this was far from over. But I never regretted leaving Lu Ruyan. If I had stayed by her side, I was genuinely terrified I'd wake up one day and realize I had slashed her throat instead. That was the darkest, most terrifying nightmare. Hidden deep in my subconscious, Yu Wei put some sashimi on my plate, snapping me out of my spiral. I quickly swallowed it down. The wasabi hit me so hard my brain froze, and my eyes watered. Liu Ruyan reacted faster than she could think. She immediately poured me a glass of warm water. Yu Wei did the exact same thing. I only hesitated for 0.1 seconds before taking the glass from Yu Wei. Then I gave Liu Ruyan an awkward smile. A satisfied smirk appeared on Yu Wei's face. She said, "Ms. Liu is such a great elder. It's late, and instead of spending this beautiful night with your fiancé, you're here having dinner with us." My hand shook, and I almost dropped the surf clam I was holding. I didn't even know Liu Ruyan had another fiancé. Is it the same guy from before? Or someone new? After moving to the US, I blocked everything related to Liu Ruyan. It's not that I didn't want to know. I just didn't dare to. I was terrified that if I saw her, I'd miss her too much. That I wouldn't be able to handle life without her, and I'd run right back. Then, all this effort would be for nothing. Seeing me look upset, Liu Ruyan wasn't sure if the things Ito Cheng did back then had left me with trauma. She immediately frowned and clarified, "Byun Tao and I are just a business arrangement. It's just an engagement on paper. Liu Group needs the BI family's tech, and Bai Yuntao wants his share of his dad's inheritance. It's just two career-driven people teaming up, getting what we need." But since the Yu girl was right there, Liu Ruyan couldn't spill too much tea. I thought, wow, she really did move on. Oh, see? I knew it. Liu Ruyan was bound to get a new fiancé eventually. I laughed, raised my tea, and clinked glasses with Liu Ruyan. I said, "It's a bummer I missed your wedding 3 years ago. Such a shame. You better remember to send me an invite this time. I'll definitely pull up if I'm free." Liu Ruyan opened her mouth, but no words came out. She just downed her sake in one gulp. She figured Boda didn't care she got married anymore, and that meant she could reconnect with him. When he left back then, didn't he say he was tired of living under her wing? That he was sick of it. Now that 3 years have passed, did he change his mind? Liu Ruyan had a million questions for him. But, with the Yu girl right there, she couldn't even straight up say she missed him. The dinner ended quickly. Yu Yovei linked arms with me, walking ahead. Yu Yovei said, "Let me tell you, I did my research. The hot springs at the hotel tonight are top tier. We are so going when we get back." She didn't even finish her sentence before a frantic voice interrupted from behind. Boda. It had been so long since Liu Ruyan yelled my name like that. My heart totally skipped a beat. I turned around, still unable to look her in the eye. I asked, "What's up?" Liu Ruyan opened her mouth but didn't know what to say. When she heard what Yu Wei just said, all she could picture was the two of them, soaking in a hot spring together. She wondered, did they book one room? Are they going to share a bed? Liu Ruyan knew it was none of her business. If they really are a couple, they obviously don't need her permission to do anything. But Liu Ruyan just couldn't stand it. She just couldn't accept it. She thought that 3 years apart would be enough to let go of her attachment to Boda. But seeing him again out of nowhere, Liu Ruyan realized she was just as possessive as ever, if not more. She gathered her thoughts and said subtly, "Since you're not married yet, you should probably be careful. You don't want the media catching you and starting drama." I was suddenly furious. I will literally never forget 3 years ago, when Ito Cheng showed up to my room with hickeys all over his neck. The sheer agony of that moment. Who is Liu Ruyan to lecture me? She's done everything under the sun, but wants to micromanage me. That violent, destructive urge I hadn't felt in forever suddenly flared up inside me. I glared coldly at Liu Ruyan. I said, "I don't see how that's any of your business. Ever since the day I turned 18, you haven't been my guardian." Liu Ruyan was absolutely stunned. She never imagined that one day She'd hear something so heartless from my mouth. She said, "Gee, Boda, I didn't mean it like that." Seeing her frown, I only got more pissed off. I gritted my teeth and said, "I don't care what you meant." With that, I pulled Yu Yowei into the sports car. Yu Yowei even turned back and shook her head at Liu Ruyan, acting like she couldn't control me either. Liu Ruyan just stood there looking dumbfounded, watching the car speed off. Yes, 3 years later. Some things change, but some things stay exactly the same. Like how she's always gonna find G Boda annoying. Once the sports car sped out of the parking lot, we didn't get far before pulling over. Yu Yowei quickly cracked open a bottle of water and handed it to me. She said, "Hurry, where are your meds? Take them right now. You're totally spiraling." My chest was heaving up and down violently. I shakily dug my pills out of my bag and swallowed them. Maybe the pill was too big. It got stuck, and my throat burned. My eyes started tearing up. Yu Yowei looked at my fragile side profile and instinctively gripped my arm tighter. Then, playing it cool, she asked, "Haven't you been doing a really good job managing it lately? Why did seeing your little auntie mess you up so bad?" I didn't want to talk. I just shook my head. Once we got back to the hotel, we went to our separate suites. Yu Yowei tried to squeeze into my room, using "I'm worried about you" as an excuse. But I slammed the door in her face without any emotion. I ordered coldly, "Get out." Yu Yowei had the door shut in her face. She was helpless. When I'm in a mood, nobody can get through to me. Inside the room, I frantically searched for something like a headless fly. I rushed into the bathroom, saw a disposable razor, and immediately snatched it up. I pulled up my shirt and slashed my stomach. Blood instantly poured out, staining everything red. I looked in the mirror at the guy with the pale face, the psycho expression, and the bloody hands. I felt like a literal demon. 28 scars in total, deep and shallow, big and small. These are all the times in the US when I went crazy, wanting to fly back and find Liu Ruyan. The pain I inflicted on myself to snap out of it is honestly my best friend. I always keep bandages and disinfectants in my bag. I've gotten way too used to patching myself up. It was 2 a.m., and I still couldn't sleep. I changed my clothes and went downstairs to toss out the bloody clothes. I didn't want to leave them in the room for anyone to find tomorrow. I suddenly realized the night view around here was a vibe. But what I didn't expect was, walking out of the hotel courtyard, I'd see that familiar car parked on the street again. Liu Ruyan was leaning against the car door, zoning out, seeing me out of nowhere. She looked down, flustered. It looked like she was embarrassed about being caught. She said, "Gee Boda, I was a little worried about you, so I figured I'd follow you and check. Don't be mad. I'll bounce right now." Looking at her super awkward expression under the streetlight, I still softened up. This is the person I've loved for so many years. The person I'm still helplessly in love with, even if we're doomed to stay away from each other. I've already held back for 3 whole years. On a cold night like this, stealing just a little bit of alone time with her. Is that really too much to ask? After all, she was the one who came looking for me. I let out a sigh. My breath formed a faint white mist in the air. I shook my head and said, "Nothing." I was about to say more, when Liu Ruyan's face suddenly dropped. She stared at my blood-stained clothes, her voice totally changing as she asked, "Gee Bodo, what happened to you?" My hand shook. I just realized I hadn't thrown my stuff away yet. I quickly crouched down, picked up the clothes with the dried blood on them, and lied. Right after I got to the hotel, I rescued a hurt, stray cat. It's its blood. I'm fine. Liu Ruyan wasn't buying it. She literally couldn't care less about boundaries at this point. She grabbed my arm, rolled up the sleeves of my coat, and checked my arm twice, super carefully. Seeing that my arm was totally fine, without a single scratch, and remembering how I walked over without any limp, she figured I really wasn't hurt. Only then did she relax a bit. Then she suddenly realized she had been holding my hand this whole time without letting go. And honestly, I hadn't pulled away either. But no matter how much she didn't want to let go, with her status and our dynamic, she couldn't hold it for too long. She wasn't sure if I'd get weirded out. Liu Ruyan silently let go, losing the warmth of her touch. My heart felt empty too. That urge to slice my skin again, just to feel some twisted comfort, and release came rushing back. But I couldn't do it now. I just bit down hard on my tongue until the strong taste of blood filled my mouth. Liu Ruyan asked me what my plans were. I whispered, I booked a flight for tomorrow, heading back to the US for school. Liu Ruyan's throat felt dry. She asked, so you're really not planning on moving back? I glanced at her, trying to stay chill. Yeah, I'm not coming back. The truth is, I can't. I don't want to be her burden anymore. Or mess up her life again. Liu Ruyan remembered something and said, my fiancé. I cut her off. Little auntie, I don't want to hear it. I added, I'm tired. I just want to go back and sleep. You should head home. With that, I gave her a quick wave, speed walked to the trash can on the corner, dumped the clothes, and jogged back into the hotel, like I was running from an absolute nightmare. Liu Ruyan watched me walk away, totally zoned out. After 3 years, she suddenly made a decision. She refused to be stuck, watching me walk away over and over again. She wanted Jibota back in her life. She wanted to see him every day and share everything with him. If Jibota wouldn't come back, then she'd just go to him. After 3 years, right after the Liu group moved to Luosheng, they made another huge move, shifting their main ops to the US. Liu Ruyan pulled an all-nighter drafting the plan. She dragged her assistant Shu Tingting to her house, working non-stop without sleep. Shu Tingting was literally fed up. She said, Ms. Liu, why the sudden crazy pivot? You gotta give me the real tea. Liu Ruyan said it straight, because Jibota is in the US, and I'm going after him. Shu Tingting literally spat out her water on the rug. She said, I freaking knew it. Liu Ruyan glared at her coldly. Knew what? Shu Tingting, shut up real quick. But honestly, 3 years ago, when Liu Ruyan called off the wedding with the Yi family for a Jibota and literally crushed them until they couldn't recover, Shu Tingting had a feeling that Liu Ruyan's feelings for Jibota were definitely not purely family. But you can't just go around saying that. If she was wrong, Liu Ruyan would absolutely end her. And back then, Jibota just vanished without a trace. Shu Tingting literally watched Liu Ruyan live like a nun for 3 years, totally detached from romance. It was only early this year, for business expansion, that Liu Ruyan got engaged to the Bi family's heir. And in half a year, outside of business meetings, they've hung out privately like maybe 3 times. How is that supposed to spark any romance? Shu Tingting suddenly had a genius idea. Liu Ruyan was typing away on her laptop when she suddenly felt a chill down her spine. She gave Shu Tingting a look and asked, what are you plotting? Shu Tingting giggled. Nothing. The US? I want to go too. I'll totally go with you. The next day, Yu Yaowei and I were waiting at the airport to fly back to the US. It was almost time to board, and we still hadn't gone through security. I was totally spacing out, constantly checking my phone. The person I was waiting for definitely wasn't coming. Last night, I didn't even give Liu Ruyan my new number. I didn't even tell her what time my flight was. It makes perfect sense that she didn't show up. I shook my head, forcing down the weird disappointment I felt, and boarded the plane with Yu Yaowei. I literally thought that was the absolute last time I'd ever see Liu Ruyan. Super polite and distant. Neither of us could get back to the vibe we used to have. She was gonna marry her new fiancé, and I was gonna grow old on the other side of the world. Honestly, it wasn't a bad ending. But what I didn't expect was, at the school anniversary a month later, I'd see Liu Ruyan again. The anniversary was a massive deal. My coach told me, Boda, we're having a VIP from your country visiting today. She sponsored our basketball team. I nodded. Standard protocol. I said, got it, coach. I'll handle the translation. I won't let you down. The coach laughed. The principal mentioned she's an absolute stunner. I literally can't wait to meet her. And 10 minutes later, I was standing right at the front of the crowd, watching Liu Ruyan step out of a luxury car with those long legs. Her black blazer dress had these intricate details and perfect pleats that added a touch of elegance and grace. It made her look like a total boss, but still super feminine. Friendly cheers erupted around me. I literally pinched my arm, thinking I was hallucinating. But the woman with a smile in her eyes was walking straight toward me. Right in front of everyone, she smiled and said, "Long time no see." The coach was shook. "You know Ms. Liu?" I was still processing and didn't know what to say. Liu Ruyan switched to flawless English. "He grew up with me." The coach instantly got it. "Ah, childhood sweethearts." Shu Tingting, right behind Liu Ruyan, watched her whole routine and gave a massive eye roll. For the 3 years Jiboda was gone, Liu Ruyan's face was basically frozen. She never smiled. Now that she moved to the US and gets to see Jiboda every day, she's back to acting all flirty and charming. It was honestly shameless. But seeing Liu Ruyan and Jiboda reunite like this just confirmed Shu Tingting's suspicions. If anyone tried to claim these two were just innocent family, yeah, right. Nobody is buying that. You could literally feel the tension between them. Tonight she was gonna give them that final push and help them rip the band-aid off. Shu Tingting walked over to say hi to me too. "Jiboda, I'm your little auntie's bestie. We've met before, remember?" I nodded awkwardly. "Yeah, I remember." "Hi, Miss Shu." Liu Ruyan literally pushed Shu Tingting out of the way. She asked, "Where's Yu Wei?" I opened my mouth, not knowing what to say. We weren't actually a couple, so obviously we weren't together 24/7. I just said she was out of the country for a few days handling some stuff. Liu Ruyan went full boss mode, pulled me aside and said, "Stick with me tonight. Be my translator." I just rolled with it, since I already promised the coach anyway. With Liu Ruyan being the main sponsor, tons of people were coming up to toast and network. I was still a little shook by her sudden appearance, so I ended up drinking quite a bit myself. Suddenly, Shu Tingting showed up, holding a bottle of wine that looked insanely expensive and cut inu. She whispered to me, "Drink this." Liu Ruyan said, "I specially prepared this wine. You can drink as much as you want and not get drunk." You two switched to this. I didn't think twice, took the glass, and thanked her. Shu Tingting flashed a smile like an unsung hero and quietly slipped back into the crowd. Soon it was time for the after-party. The music in the venue got louder, and the vibe got intense. My face felt super flushed, and my head was spinning. I couldn't stop sweating. I groggily thought, I've only been drinking Shu Tingting's special wine. How am I still this hammered? Just then, the coach walked over to us. He definitely noticed the sponsor was treating me way differently. The coach knew how hard I usually grinded. Besides practice and studying, I was always home. I literally had zero social life. And that, you girl, was definitely not my type. Looking at the two of us, the coach thought we were perfect for each other. He said, "Jiboda, everyone's totally wasted tonight. How about you do everyone a solid and take Ms. Liu home?" I nodded and said, "Got it, coach." Liu Ruyan nodded at the coach too. She was ready to dip anyway. But once we got outside, Liu Ruyan realized her assistant and driver were totally Mia. What the hell? Liu Ruyan angrily tried calling them so, but no one picked up. She was pissed, ditching work on their first day in the US and completely ghosting her. They must think their jobs are a joke. The worst part was, even Shu Tingting wasn't answering. She was probably off chasing some hot guy. Seeing Liu Ruyan like this, I was a little worried. I asked softly, "I'll just call a cab and take you back." "Don't be mad." Liu Ruyan frowned and said, "I don't need you to take me." But I insisted. I rubbed my temples and let out a sigh. I said, "No. The coach assigned me to take you back. I can't flake on that." Seeing how serious Jiboda was, Liu Ruyan's anger suddenly faded. She thought, if he wants to take me, let him. Liu Ruyan felt like she couldn't hold on much longer anyway. She could clearly feel the alcohol rushing to her head like crazy. It was burning so much, even her eyes felt hot. She mentally cursed Shu Tingting. What kind of trash wine did she give them? It hit way too hard. We hailed a cab and sat side by side in the back. The heat was blasting. Liu Ruyan and I both got hit with a wave of dizziness at almost the exact same time. Along with it came extreme heat and thirst. Liu Ruyan drank more of that wine than I did earlier, so it was hitting her even harder now. A thin layer of sweat broke out on her forehead, and she impatiently shrugged off her coat. I wasn't doing much better. My eyes were glazed over as I pressed my burning face against the window. What's wrong with me? Why do I suddenly want to hold Liu Ruyan so badly? Not just hold her. I want to hold her hand. I want to kiss her, to feel every inch of her skin. I want to be completely entangled with her. Is my illness acting up again? I knew I shouldn't have gotten close to Liu Ruyan. I started digging my nails into my palms again, even burning up. Liu Ruyan didn't stop checking on me. Seeing both my hands clenched so tight, they were shaking. Liu Ruyan's heart clenched. She instinctively reached out to pry my fingers open. The moment our hands touched, we both felt a jolt. Both our hands were burning hot, both restless, both seeming to hide some overwhelming surge of emotion. Screech! The car stopped. Liu Ruyan's hotel was here. The driver slammed the brakes pretty hard, throwing Liu Ruyan forward. That one movement seemed to spark the fuse of the fire raging inside her. I helped her out of the car. I had no idea what was wrong with her. Why was she breathing so heavy? Why was she burning up? Did she have a fever? I couldn't hide my worry, and helped her all the way back to her room. I originally didn't want to go in. I wanted to leave immediately, find the meds in my bag and take a bunch, just in case I had an episode, and freaked her out, shredding the last bit of dignity between us. But the presidential suite's soundproof door was too heavy. The second I stepped inside, the door clicked shut behind me. At the same time, I belatedly realized that something was rising up inside me, screaming to get out. Before I could even get Liu Ruyan to the bed, my legs gave out, and I collapsed onto the floor, and Liu Ruyan crashed down on top of me. Our bodies tangled together. Liu Ruyan's burning lips landed right against the side of my neck. In that instant, my scalp tingled, my hair stood on end, and I started shaking. I frantically looked at Liu Ruyan, only to see her eyes were completely bloodshot. She dug her hands hard into the carpet. Using all her self-control to push herself up, she said, "Get out. Jibota, go home." Liu Ruyan did everything she could to stop us from taking it any further. But it was useless, because I was already burning up. I stared with wide eyes, feeling so uncomfortable, like ants were crawling all over me. Experiencing this for the first time, I was so confused. What the hell is wrong with me? Why can't I control myself when I see Liu Ruyan? Beyond that, I literally couldn't process anything. Liu Ruyan let out a soft groan, rolled off me and stumbled to open the door. But the door wouldn't budge. Someone had obviously locked it from the outside. She suddenly remembered Shu Tingting's shady little smile. She punched the wall in frustration. She immediately called Shu Tingting to cuss her out. But Shu Tingting just said super casually, "Keep acting tough. Tonight's gonna be epic for you guys. After tonight, you'll definitely be thanking me." Liu Ruyan was fuming, but she could see me struggling to hold back. She felt so bad for me, but didn't dare to get close. She locked herself in the bathroom. When she finally thought she had it under control and pushed the door open, she saw me totally out of it. It was so hot, I took off my coat and popped open a few buttons on my shirt. Liu Ruyan was scared to look at me, and she was holding back so hard, it hurt. She managed to grab a bathrobe, but the second she got close, I basically threw myself onto her. My thin lips pressed tightly against hers. I said, "Liu Ruyan, is that you?" In that instant, Liu Ruyan clearly heard something snap inside her. Right after, an intense wave of emotion spread through her entire body. What snapped was her logic and her morals. That feeling made her finally realize why, the moment we kissed, she felt so happy, but also so regretful. Maybe this kiss should have happened way earlier. She realized why she had so firmly decided to call off the wedding for Jibota. Why, seeing Jibota in danger. She even thought about dying too. Why, when Jibota left without saying goodbye, she felt like a piece of her heart was missing. Why, when they finally reunited, seeing another woman next to him made her hurt so bad, made her so jealous. Why did she follow him to the US? Because she's in love with Jibota. Not an adult's love for a kid. Not the kind of affection she'd always talked about all those years. It's romantic love. It's possessiveness. It's craving. It's knowing it has to be him. But how could she do this? Jibota sees her as his only family. He trusts her. He depends on her. Even if everything has changed now. Yeah, right now Jibota probably finds her annoying. Otherwise, why would he leave? Liu Ruyan's burning hot was instantly doused with ice water. She gritted her teeth and pushed me away. She said, "Ji Boda, look closely at who I am. I know you're in agony right now. Just hold on a little longer. I'll call an ambulance right now, okay?" Before she even finished, I kissed her again. My eyes were glazed over, my speech slurred, but she still understood. I said, "I know you're Liu Ruyan. I like you. I really, really like you." Boom! Massive fireworks exploded in Liu Ruyan's heart. She shakily leaned in close to me, asked in disbelief, "Really?" Instead of answering with words, I just pressed my lips against hers again. In this moment, words were completely unnecessary. Liu Ruyan had the boy she loved the most. The next day, the glaring sun woke me up. I instinctively raised my arm to block it, only to notice some red marks on it. They looked like finger marks. My soul instantly snapped back into my body. I shot up in bed, but let out a groan of pain. From the crazy soreness all over my body, I was completely shook. Pulling the stark white blanket up, I punched my own head hard. I remembered having a dream last night. I dreamt of Liu Ruyan again, and this time, we were way more intimate than ever before. While I was enjoying the sweetness of it, a deep sense of sorrow washed over me. If Liu Ruyan knew what I was thinking, would she ever smile at me again? But right now, what was even more terrifying than the nightmare was what was right in front of me. Clothes scattered everywhere. The massive hotel bed. I panicked. This wasn't a dream. Did I really just with Liu Ruyan? How is that even possible? Or maybe, after dropping her off last night, I got so drunk that I did this with some random woman. Honestly, that's better. At least it's better than if it was actually Liu Ruyan. I raised my hand and slapped myself hard across the face. I shakily got out of bed to get dressed. Just as I pulled my shirt on, the door opened. Someone was tiptoeing inside. I literally wanted the ground to swallow me whole. I did not want to see what my drunk mistake actually looked like. I was already having a full-blown crisis. But the worst was yet to come. Because the person walking in was Liu Ruyan, I thought I was still stuck in the nightmare. I raised my hand ready to slap myself again. Liu Ruyan was carrying a breakfast tray and a massive, fresh bouquet of Iceland poppies. Seeing me, she quickly dropped them and rushed over to grab my hand. I asked, "What are you doing?" I was completely confused. What does this even mean? The person from last night was Liu Ruyan. How is that possible? No, I must be having an episode. Where are my meds? I asked. Where are my meds? I completely lost it. I scrambled around the room like a headless fly, desperate to find my pills. Liu Ruyan panicked too. She didn't know what was wrong with me. She asked, "What meds? Ji Boda, what's going on?" Watching me, she yelled my name. I flinched. I slowly looked up at her, my face covered in tears. Liu Ruyan's heart, which was already in her throat, sank completely. She thought, is he regretting it? But she didn't have time to process her own feeling. She just grabbed my arms and asked, "Ji Boda, what's wrong? Just tell me, okay? Please don't do this." I couldn't say a single word. I just let out an agonizing wail and cried, "Little Antian." Liu Ruyan completely broke down. Ever since last night, she physically couldn't handle hearing that name anymore. She patted my back rhythmically. "Ji Boda, listen to me. What happened yesterday was an accident. I don't know if you still remember, but you said you liked me. Now I want to confirm it one more time. Was that real?" I gritted my teeth and shook my head frantically. I was too scared to admit it, but I didn't want to deny it either. Seeing me shake my head, Liu Ruyan's heart turned icy cold, but she still laid her true feelings completely bare. Leaving the choice entirely up to me, she said, "Ji Boda, I'll apologize first. For yesterday, for the past, for everything. I was too stupid before. I didn't realize what my feelings for you actually were. Now I want to tell you, I like you. I like you the exact same way you like me. If what you said last night wasn't just drunk talk," she asked, "break up with the you girl, okay? Even if you can't accept being with me right now. Just give me a chance, okay?" The moment I heard her say she liked, I completely froze. How is that possible? Liu Ruyan likes me. Why? Is it the kind of like I'm thinking of? Liu Ruyan stared into my eyes. She saw her own reflection in them, but she couldn't read me anymore. Looking at me now, it didn't seem like I was unwilling. But right now, there was something else she wanted to do way more. She asked, Boda, can you kiss me? My pupils shrank, and my eyes darted away. Before I could answer, Liu Ruyan let out a soft laugh. That crisp sound gave me goosebumps. I felt my face heat up. She said, if you don't want to, just shake your head, okay? I felt like my body wasn't even mine anymore. The tiny bit of logic I had left was screaming at me to shake my head. This can't go on. But my racing heart was screaming back. This is Liu Ruyan, the girl you've been obsessed with forever. Liu Ruyan read my answer, loud and clear. Without asking again, she went on her tiptoes and kissed me. This was our first kiss, while completely sober. So this is what it feels like. I literally can't even describe it. It felt like my soul was floating in midair. Liu Ruyan kissed me gently, and then pulled back. My head was spinning. I instinctively leaned in for more. I didn't want to let her go. Liu Ruyan laughed softly. Not enough. She scoffed playfully. Still gonna say you don't like me. My heart was fluttering. I finally found my voice. I said no, I never said that. Finally getting a straight answer. Liu Ruyan closed her eyes. The dust had finally settled, but then she remembered something. She opened her eyes, frowned, and asked, what about you and Yue? Before she could finish, I cut in, we're not together like that. It's just a fake relationship for everyone else. My voice was still low, like I was still in a daze. But I was firmly declaring my loyalty to Liu Ruyan. Liu Ruyan felt like she was on cloud 9. She knew it. Boda grew up right beside her. If he was going to get a girlfriend, his standards would obviously be sky high. There's no way he'd settle for that girl. Thank God she wasn't too late. Liu Ruyan wanted to be by his side 24/7, just like they had been for all those years. I was still super obedient. Whatever Liu Ruyan said, I followed her out. As we headed downstairs, we ran straight into Shu Tingting. Her dress was a mess, and her face was flushed. It was obvious she hadn't slept at all last night. Seeing us holding hands, she clapped her hands in excitement. Then she gave us this knowing look. She said, so, Miss Liu, I told you last night, didn't I? Liu Ruyan felt a rush of embarrassment and anger. Shu Tingting was completely out of pocket, even though things ended exactly how she wanted. If anything had gone wrong, if Boda had gotten hurt, she would have literally slapped her 10 times. Seeing Liu Ruyan's face change, Shu Tingting quickly begged for mercy. Oh, come on. Don't worry about it. It was the good stuff. 0 side effects, promise. I did you a massive solid, and you're glaring at me. Without me, you guys would be single forever. Liu Ruyan waved her off, annoyed. Stay away from me. You got L. Shu Tingting yawned and headed back to her room. I definitely caught on to the hidden meaning in what Shu Tingting just said. Liu Ruyan wasn't happy that I was looking at another woman. She squeezed my hand tighter. I snapped out of it and said, you go down first. I gotta use the restroom. I hopped back on the elevator. I ended up staring right at Shu Tingting. She asked, what are you doing? Don't get too close to me. I don't want to get slapped by your precious Miss Liu. My hands subconsciously clenched into fists again. I stared straight at Shu Tingting and asked, what did you mean by what you just said? Shu Tingting paused, then laughed casually. She said, oh, that, I'm talking about the wine I poured for you guys last night. It took a lot of effort to get my hands on it. Worked like a charm, right? I told you, I knew you guys had a vibe going on. But someone had to give you a little push. I understood completely. My face went pale. So everything that happened yesterday wasn't because Liu Ruyan genuinely liked me and couldn't control herself. It was just the drugs. Even if it was someone else, she would have done the same thing, right? But because I'm the kid she raised, I'm a little special. That's why she said all those things to me just now. At the end of the day, it still wasn't love. It was just a sense of responsibility. I asked, so you knew I liked her this whole time? Shu Tingting laughed. Boda likes Liu Ruyan? She was thinking. I've known Liu Ruyan was obsessed with Boda for ages. But it makes sense. If Boda didn't like Liu Ruyan back, they wouldn't have gotten together so fast. So Shu Tingting nodded and said, "Yeah, exactly." I nodded slowly, smiling bitterly. Even Shu Tingting, who I've barely met, could tell how I felt about Liu Ruyan, and Liu Ruyan couldn't see it all these years. I said, "Okay, got AG. Thanks." With that, the elevator stopped. I pressed the open button and walked out. The word responsibility carries so much weight. Since I was a kid, I was Liu Ruyan's responsibility. But now, I refuse to let responsibility ruin her life. Leaning against the wall, I shakily pulled the pills out of my bag and swallowed a bunch of them dry. I didn't take the elevators. I took the stairs. Then, I got a call from Yu Yo. She said, "G. Boda, I'm back in the US. What are you doing? Wanna hang out?" I shut my eyes tight and made a decision. Royce Hotel. Come, pick me up at the back entrance. In the hotel lobby, Liu Ruyan waited a full 20 minutes, but I never came down. She couldn't help but call me, but it just went to voicemail. A terrible feeling flashed through her mind. She jumped up and rushed upstairs. Back in the room, there was no sign of me. In that moment, she felt like she was back 3 years ago. Walking into my cold, empty apartment, she was completely devastated. Liu Ruyan stamped her foot in frustration, then rushed to Shu Tingting's room and banged on the door. "Where's G. Boda?" she demanded. "Have you seen him?" Shu Tingting jumped. "Yeah, I saw him. We chatted in the elevator for a bit, and then he left." "Wait, isn't your room on the 18th floor? Why did he get off on the 12th? What did you say to him?" Shu Tingting replied, "I didn't say anything. I just told him the wine I gave you yesterday was the good stuff." Before she even finished, Liu Ruyan fiercely grabbed Shu Tingting's dress. Shu Tingting complained, "What is your problem? If you can't find G. Boda, hitting me won't help. Go look for him." Liu Ruyan's arm finally dropped weakly. She seemed to realize that G. Boda regretted it. He bailed at the last minute. He didn't want to be with her. Shu Tingting was totally thrown off by Liu Ruyan's defeated look. She said, exasperated, "Are you okay? Should we put out a missing persons addy? It's my fault. I shouldn't have run my mouth. If you want to slap me, fine. Let's just go find him right now." Liu Ruyan frustratedly grabbed her own hair. She said, "Forget it. It's not your fault. It's mine. Why couldn't he hold back last night? If it had been literally anyone else, she would have fought to the death. But it was G. Boda." Liu Ruyan still held on to that delusional fantasy, and that fantasy itself was the mistake, because G. Boda didn't actually want her. That day, Liu Ruyan drove around the streets of America endlessly. She called G. Boda a million times, but still couldn't reach him. Her heart turned ice cold. It felt like it would never thaw again. Yu Yaovei and I drove all the way to Milan. She didn't know what was wrong with me. I was neurotically picking at my hands and biting my lip the whole ride. When she asked, I didn't say a word, just kept shaking my head. Yu Yao was so annoyed. How did I turn into this mess after she left for just a few days? Then, reading the news, she figured out the problem. Turns out Liu Ruyan also went to the US, hiding the dark look in her eyes. Yu Yaovei said, "Let's find a place to rest first." We found a hotel to crash at. I made a split-second decision to transfer schools. I decided to move to Milan immediately and never go back to the US again, even though Liu Ruyan might find me again soon. I just needed to run while I could. Yu Yaovei was super frustrated. She finally lost it, grabbed my sleeve, and asked, "What is going on with you? Can you just tell me? Why do you suddenly have to leave again?" But when she pulled, she tugged my collar down, exposing the glaring marks on my neck. Yu Yaovei completely froze, staring right at it. I felt instantly embarrassed. She asked, "Are you finally gonna tell me? What exactly happened to you?" She held back her anger, thinking about seeing those marks on my neck just now. She was absolutely furious. I shook my head. "It's exactly what it looks like," she yelled. "Who was it?" "Liu Ruyan comes to the US. And one night later, you dragged me out of there like a fugitive. You're hiding from her, right? Was it her?" I sighed. "Why are you yelling?" Looking at me. Yu Yaovei just knew that homewrecker Liu Ruyan was up to no good with G. Boda. She said, "G. Boda, she's your aunt. Does she even know that? How could she do something so sickening?" I can't believe Jibota's been gone for so many years. And this still happens. My face went cold, too. No matter what, I could never blame Lu Ruyan. I stood up and took 2 steps back. Looking dead serious, I said, it wasn't her fault. You shouldn't talk about her like that. Yu Yovei got even madder. She said, if it wasn't her fault, why are you running? What does that even mean? So it was your fault. You hurt her, slept with her, and now you regret it. My mental state was already terrible. And Yu Yaoai's attack pushed me over the edge. I said angrily, Yaha, it was my fault. So what? What's it to you? Liu Ruyan said she heard me say I liked her. I knew that wasn't a lie. Because in so many dreams, whether I was hurting or happy, I was always confessing my feelings to Lu Ruyan. I just never expected that one day the dream would become reality. Yu Yaowei and I had been in the US together for so long, and this was the first time she'd ever seen me blow up at her. For a second, she couldn't hold it back either, and snap. She said angrily, right? It has nothing to do with me. I'm just being a simp, okay? What even am I to you? All you care about is that Liu woman. 3 years ago, you literally jumped off a building for her. And now you sleep with your aunt and run away. Why are you such a coward? I literally couldn't believe my ears. I felt like a fragile, dead leaf, fluttering in the autumn wind. I stopped walking, holding onto the wall to steady myself. I asked, how do you know about that? I never told anyone what happened 3 years ago. Who exactly are you? Yu Yai froze, too. She didn't expect to just blurt it out like that, but since it was out, she might as well confess. It wasn't like she had anything to hide. Seeing me look like I was about to collapse, she finally panicked. She said, just calm down. I'll explain everything. I took a deep breath. I crossed my arms, taking on a completely defensive posture. I gave Yu Yaowei a hard look. Yu Yaowei let out a deep sigh. She said, I met you when we were kids. When you were 8, that was the exact year Jibota lost his dad. Right after the accident, little Jibota was so traumatized. His health was terrible, and the house was totally empty. He didn't want to go back. So, he just stayed at the hospital. Yu Yaowei said, I was sick back then too. Staying at the hospital. We met in the reading room on the 1st floor. You probably don't remember, huh? I was a little shocked. My dad died, and becoming an orphan made me develop maybe as a defense mechanism. I slowly faded out the memories of the time right after the accident. So obviously I couldn't remember. A playmate I only saw briefly years ago, and barely spoke to. I finally understood. I asked, so the whole jumping off the building thing. Yu Yaowei cut me off. When you jumped at 18, I was the one who saved you. I happened to be staying at that same hotel. When I checked in, I saw you and was super hyped. So I asked the front desk for your room number, and got the room right below yours. I literally wasn't planning anything weird. I just wanted to be closer to you. Because after we left the hospital as kids, it seemed like you forgot me. So for all these years, I never rushed to try and find you. But then I thought, if we ran into each other like this, it must be fate, right? If I ran into you again in the morning, I was going to say, I was definitely gonna get your socials. But I never expected saying this. Yu Yaowei gave a bitter, self-deprecating laugh. I knew exactly what she was going to say. She never expected to see me before morning. Only, it was me falling from the sky. I said guiltily, I'm sorry. If that's true. Not only did I forget Yu Yaowei, I traumatized her. She saved my life, and I didn't even know it. And all these years in the US, she's taken such good care of me. I felt a mix of complicated emotions. I always thought that after losing my dad, the only person in the world who cared about me was Liu Ruyan. I never imagined there was also Yu Yaowei, silently watching over me. Yu Yaowei squeezed my hand and said, I'm the one who should be thanking you. If it wasn't for you, I would have died in the hospital as a kid. I was shocked. That actually happened. Yu Yaowei smiled. Yahi. When I was little, the internal family drama was insane. I ended up in the hospital because someone poisoned me. And they sneaked into my room in the middle of the night to drug me again. But you saw them, and immediately got the doctor, otherwise I wouldn't have lived to see the next day. From that moment on, Yu Yawei swore to take care of Jiboda for the rest of her life, but it seems like she failed. Jiboda still ended up getting hurt by Liu Ruyan. My heart ached a little, maybe because Yu Yawei was connected to that really dark time in my past. I really wanted to cherish my friendship with her. 1 week later in the US, Liu Ruyan looked absolutely terrible these past few days, like a woman who'd been dumped. Shu Tingting walked on eggshells. She wasn't sure if Jiboda's sudden disappearance was actually because of the spiked wine she gave them. But Liu Ruyan said it wasn't the wine's fault. It was the issues between her and Jiboda. She felt that Jiboda didn't want to be with her. If she pushed him too hard, Jiboda would just get more annoyed. But she was truly at her breaking point now. So, Liu Ruyan got herself together and rushed to the school. But the principal hit her with absolutely devastating news. He said, "Miss Liu, Jiboda has already applied to transfer schools. Even though we're sad to see him go, we have to respect his decision. According to him, he's already found a new place in Milan." Liu Ruyan couldn't even force a bitter smile anymore. So that night, when he said he liked her, it was all fake. Either Jiboda thought she was someone else, or she totally misread the situation. Liu Ruyan felt a chill to her bones. What the hell had she done? After the banquet, Liu Ruyan wandered aimlessly around the campus, alone. She had no idea what to do next. Moving to the US seemed like it was just her being delusional, and to Jiboda, it was just a burden. She felt like she was always doing the absolute most for no reason. 3 years ago, when the Liu group was shifting its strategy, and she wanted a new location, out of all the options, Liu Ruyan picked Luoshang, because she remembered that when he was a kid, Jiboda saw a promo video for Luochang on TV, and said the city he wanted to visit most was Luochang. So later, she set the new company headquarters in Luochang, and bought 2 new apartments there, one above the other, exactly like their old setup. But she never expected that when her assistant accidentally leaked this to Jiboda, he would react so extremely. Earlier, Ito Chang kept pushing Liu Ruyan to tell Jiboda about it beforehand. It felt like he was pressuring Jiboda to pick a side. Like if Jiboda showed even the slightest hesitation, they'd just leave him behind. Liu Ruyan was obviously annoyed and said, "What do you mean by that? I raise Jiboda. Obviously he goes wherever I go. If you have a problem with that, you shouldn't have gotten with me." Ito Cheng's face immediately went pale, and he kept apologizing. The reason Liu Ruyan hadn't told Jiboda yet was because she wanted to surprise him. And in her mind, it didn't matter when she told him, because why would he ever not want to be with her? The more she thought about it, the more drained she felt. Just then, she got an international call. "I'm just calling to let you know. I finally secured my old man's inheritance. Thanks for being so understanding, and for holding off on announcing that our engagement is off for a few days." It was Liu Ruyan's ex-fiancé, Bi Yuntao. The morning she woke up in the hotel bed, she immediately sent him a message. She said she found the man she truly loved in the US, and couldn't maintain their mutually beneficial engagement anymore. Bi Yuntao laughed and said, "Who would have thought? Boss Liu is usually an ice queen. Didn't expect you to fall in love so fast." Back then, Liu Ruyan was just overwhelmed with the joy of a long-standing regret finally being resolved. She said, "It's the person I've loved all along." Snapping back to the present, Liu Ruyan held back her emotions and said, "Congrats." Bi Yuntao replied, "You sound super down. Don't tell me your old flame doesn't want you back. Did he find out that I was your fiancé?" She choked up and replied, "Before I even had the chance to explain, he left." Bi Yuntao was like, "Oh man, that's stressful. Wait for me. I'm heading to the US right now." With that, he hung up. Liu Ruyan was full of question marks. Is this spy guy being a little too overly helpful? They aren't even that close. The next day, she got another call from Bi Yuntao. He actually flew over immediately. "Come to the sports store. I was shopping by myself. I left in such a hurry. I had to buy workout gear and sneakers here. Yu Yovei and I had made up. Maybe it's because we both saved each other's lives. But we're actually even closer now. A few days ago, Yu Yovei took a fall and fractured her foot, so I stayed at the hospital to look after her. This store was near the hospital, So I stepped out for some fresh air to grab a few things. When I walked out, it was drizzling. But when I clearly saw the car parked diagonally across the street, and the person getting out of it, my heart stopped again. My body moved faster than my brain. I instantly ducked behind a huge tree. It was Liu Ruyan. And the next second, I saw a tall guy step out of the car and hold an umbrella over her. My hands started shaking again. I couldn't control myself. I pulled out my phone and searched Liu Ruyan fiancé. It only showed official press photos. But I could tell at a glance that it was the exact same guy standing next to her. Whatever, it has nothing to do with me anymore. But my heart was still throbbing. I hid behind the tree for 10 minutes before cautiously creeping out, covering my face. Who would have thought that after taking just a few steps, as I walked past that restaurant, Liu Ruyan would come right back out, as if sensing something. She turned around on the rainy street and saw the silhouette of the person she'd been endlessly worrying about for days. She yelled, "Ji Boda!" Liu Ruyan couldn't hold back anymore. Screaming my name, my whole body tensed up, and I instantly broke into a sprint, acting like I didn't hear a thing. Liu Ruyan chased after me, but after just a few steps, running in heels, she stumbled. With a loud smack, she fell hard onto the ground. I heard a whimper behind me. I gritted my teeth. I finally gave in, turned back, and helped her up. The next second, she grabbed my arm tight. She asked, "Why do you run whenever you see me?" "Ji Boda, look at me." I looked her in the eyes with pure despair. Liu Ruyan's eyes were completely red. Was it really longing filling them? The moment our eyes met, the rain suddenly started pouring, drenching us both to the bone. Liu Ruyan didn't take no for an answer, dragging me to her car. She cranked up the heater, found a towel and handed it to me. I let out a defeated sigh. Seeing how miserable I looked, Liu Ruyan asked, "Do you really hate seeing me that much?" I kept my head down, refusing to look at her. I asked, "Why are you here?" She replied, "That's what I should be asking you. Ji Boda, you literally ghosted me at the hotel, ignored my calls, left me on read. How can you be so irresponsible?" I shot back, "Irresponsible? I left because I didn't want to be your burden anymore." Liu Ruyan's face was darker than the storm clouds outside. She honestly couldn't figure out what the hell I was thinking. But she didn't dare get mad right now. She finally found me and missed me too much. She was terrified of pissing me off and making me run again. My fingers twitched. I said, "You should dry off too," before I even finished my sentence. Someone knocked on the window. We looked over. It was a guy in a tailored suit. Liu Ruyan's fiancé, Bi Yuntao. Liu Ruyan rolled down the window a bit. Annoyed, she asked, "What's wrong?" His scrutinizing stare, to me, it felt full of judgment and hostility. I'll never forget how utterly unhinged Ito Cheng was. Bi Yuntao didn't forget his agenda. He immediately switched up his vibe, playing the ultimate nice guy. He said gently, "You've been out here forever. I wanted to make sure you were okay." "Fiancé." My face instantly drained of color again. Liu Ruyan gritted her teeth. "Yesterday," Bi Yuntao said, "making someone jealous is the best way to test if they like you. But right now, Liu Ruyan just wanted to clear the air. She didn't want me to have any more crazy misunderstandings. She said, 'Ji Boda, he's my,'" before she could finish. I forced a smile, looked calmly at Bi Yuntao and said, "I know, uncle-in-law." Bi Yuntao almost choked on his own spit. What the hell? Ji Boda and Liu Ruyan. He frantically shot Liu Ruyan a look, trying to ask if I was the guy she was chasing. Liu Ruyan glared daggers at him. But from my perspective, that obviously looked like a whole different vibe. I adjusted my clothes and pushed the car door open myself. I said, "I'll leave you guys to it. I'm out." Right then my phone randomly went off. Liu Ruyan clearly saw the caller ID. It was Yu Yao. She instantly lost her temper. He literally said he liked her, and they did all those intimate things. He literally said he and Yu Yao weren't a thing. So why did Ji Boda ditch her, block her everywhere, but stay in touch with Yu Yao? Liu Ruyan's face was dark. She grabbed my sleeve and said, "Did I say you could leave?" I gave a dry laugh. "I really don't want to third wheel you guys. I gotta go back and change." She scoffed playfully. Boda. You look like that. Do you really think I'm gonna let you out of my sight? And just like that, I was basically kidnapped and dragged to the hotel. Liu Ruyan and Bi Yuntao were staying at, walking into the lobby. My mind was a complete mess. I absolutely did not want to accidentally intrude on their romantic honeymoon suite. But, strangely enough, Bi Yuntao and Liu Ruyan actually booked 2 separate suites. Bi Yuntao shooed Liu Ruyan away, saying, "Go do whatever you need to do. I'll call you when he's done." And then Liu Ruyan went to her own room. Liu Ruyan paced back and forth in front of her door, annoyed. She literally didn't have the mental capacity to care about anything else right now. She just wanted to make sure I was okay. In his room, Bi Yuntao pushed me into the bathroom. Bi Yuntao knocked on the door and said, "Gee, Boda, I left some clothes for you by the door." He knocked a bunch of times, but nobody answered. Bi Yuntao got worried something happened to me. So he carefully pushed the door open just a crack. Thankfully, the guy was perfectly fine. Just, probably, super focused on showering. Bi Yuntao breathed a sigh of relief and quietly shut the door. But then, it hit him. What did he just see? Bi Yuntao was terrified. He sprinted out to find Liu Ruyan. But when he opened his door, he got jump-scared again. Liu Ruyan was standing right at his door, looking like an absolute demon. Seeing Bi Yuntao in such a panic, Liu Ruyan immediately frowned. "What's wrong?" Bi Yuntao pulled her aside and asked nervously, "Have you ever seen Boda's body?" Liu Ruyan shook off his hand and stamped her foot in anger. She said, "What kind of nonsense are you talking about?" Bi Yuntao was shook. "Wait, I didn't mean it like that. I just saw." "Saw what?" "Spill it," he said. "I accidentally saw that Boda has a ton of old scars on his stomach. Different depths. Super messy. What's up with that? Did he get injured or something?" Liu Ruyan was also confused. She replied, "He had surgery a few years ago, on his liver, but there should only be 1 surgical scar." Bi Yuntao looked extremely worried. "No, definitely not. They don't look like surgical scars. It looks like someone slashed him with a knife." As soon as he said it, his own heart sank. And Liu Ruyan looked like she'd been hit by a trucker. She stood frozen, obviously having no idea. Bi Yuntao sighed. He asked, "Has he had any other girlfriends over the years? Could it be that girl?" But he didn't finish the sentence. Bi Yuntao didn't dare say another word, because it looked like Liu Ruyan was ready to murder someone. She barged right into the room, grabbed Boda's phone, and called Yu Yovei. Yu Yovei, totally unaware of the impending doom, yelled, "Where did you go? Are you trying to starve me to death?" Liu Ruyan's voice sounded like a demon straight out of hell. Through gritted teeth she asked, "Yu Yovei, where are you?" Yu Yovei paused for a second, then sneered, "San Martin Hospital." Got the answer. Yu Yovei hung up. Liu Ruyan tossed the phone back and sprinted out. She ordered Bi Yuntao, "Watch Boda. Do not let him leave until I get back." Half an hour later, a car drifted into the hospital entrance. The woman, radiating pure fury, stepped out. Everyone in her path automatically scrambled out of the way. She looked terrifying. When she reached the room, she roughly fixed her messy hair. From the moment Liu Ruyan walked in, Yu Yovei glared at her with pure defiance. Liu Ruyan scanned the room first. There were tons of Boda's things scattered around. Did he go abroad? Leave America? Just to hide in this tiny hospital room and take care of this cripple? Does she even deserve it? Liu Ruyan couldn't hold back anymore and completely unleashed her rage. She rushed to the bed and grabbed her shoulders. With Yu Yaoi's leg messed up, if they fought, she'd definitely lose. She yelled, "Liu Ruyan, are you a psychopath? I'm telling you, if you lay a finger on me today, I will never forgive you." Liu Ruyan was panting heavily. She sneered, shoved her away, and said, "If I wanted to, I could make you disappear without a trace." Looking into her eyes, Yu Yovei had to admit, even though she'd survived countless near-death experiences in her family's power struggles since childhood, in that moment, seeing the beast-like hatred in Liu Ruyan's eyes, she broke out in a cold sweat. Liu Ruyan kicked the hospital bed hard. Yu Yovei rubbed her neck and muttered, "Psycho." Liu Ruyan snapped back, "You have no right to judge me, you sick freak." everything Ji-Boda went through. I'm going to make you pay for it. Yu Yovei was in disbelief. What kind of BS are you spouting? Liu Ruyan said, still denying it. I'm giving you one last chance. Where did the scars on Ji-Boda's body come from? Yu Yovei looked confused for a second. But then she remembered, and her face turned incredibly grim. Seeing her reaction, Liu Ruyan's anger flared up again. But Yu Yovei just scoffed. Wanna know? Get on your knees and beg me. Liu Ruyan screamed. Go to hell. She was so furious. She raised her hand to slap her again. But Yu Yovei's next words completely froze her in place. She said, it wasn't me. He did it to himself. What? Liu Ruyan's body swayed slightly. She stumbled back a step in shock. She asked, what do you mean? Yu Yovei was done fighting with Liu Ruyan. She felt a deep exhaustion in her soul. She paused and said, Ji-Boda has had a mental illness for years. After he came to the US, he had an episode once, and I caught him self-harming. It's been so long, I thought he was better. But I didn't realize that maybe, where I couldn't see, he was still suffering just as much. Liu Ruyan felt like the back of her head had been smashed with a hammer. Self-harm? The boy she watched grow up. Why would he develop an illness like that? And what was even worse, was that, for all these years, how could she be so completely clueless? Liu Ruyan let out an agonizing scream and kicked down the IV stand by the bed. Yu Yovei sneered disdainfully. Hurts, doesn't it? Feel helpless, right? Well, can you imagine how helpless he's felt for all these years? Liu Ruyan sobbed. It's my fault. But why wouldn't he tell me? Yu Yovei exploded too. She yelled, because he loves you. He loves you so much, it literally kills him. How could he dare tell you? Liu Ruyan. He thinks he's a psycho. He was terrified you'd be disgusted by him. Terrified of being your burden. He'd rather hurt himself than hurt you. That's why he had to stay far away from you. Liu Ruyan took a deep breath. Her voice was incredibly hoarse. She asked, did he tell you all this? Yu Yovei shot back. Does he even need to? I have eyes. I can see it myself. Only someone as blind and clueless as you couldn't see it. You constantly paraded that damn fiancé of yours right in front of his face. You just let him get hurt over and over. Have you ever even seen his meds? The orange olanzapine pills. They're specifically for his illness. So that was it. And she even told him he was being moody and immature. He was literally sick then. And she, like a complete idiot, somehow missed every single clue. Liu Ruyan couldn't stay there a second longer. She had to see Ji-Boda right now. Otherwise, the pain in her heart was going to kill her. Liu Ruyan lowered her head slightly to Yu Yovei and said, thank you for telling me all this. Yu Yovei scoffed, save your fake apologies. I just hope you can actually show some humanity and treat him right. Liu Ruyan just nodded without saying a word and turned to leave. It wasn't until she stepped into the empty elevator and stared blankly at her reflection in the mirror that she realized her reflection was getting blurry. Liu Ruyan reached up to touch her face. Turns out she was crying. In the hotel room, after my shower, I put on the clothes Bai Yuntao left for me. I still felt completely lost. I sharply noticed that Yuntao's attitude was subtly different from before. My mind was a chaotic mess again. I really didn't want to hear Bai Yuntao brag about how madly in love he and Liu Ruyan. I forced out, uncle-in-law. Thank you. I have some stuff to do. I gotta go. I'll wash these clothes and return them to you later. Or if you don't want them back, I can just Venmo you for them right now. Bai Yuntao shook his head. He poured me a cup of hot tea and pulled me down to sit. He said, why are you acting like I'm some stranger? No need for all that. Ji-Boda, tell me the tea between you and Liu Ruyan. I froze and asked, she didn't tell you. Bai Yuntao wasn't even thinking about that helping Liu Ruyan get her man's strategy anymore. He just said it straight. I barely know her. It was just a mutually beneficial business deal. Besides this trip to Milan, I've literally seen her privately like 3 times total. I was absolutely shook. I suddenly remembered what happened at the Japanese restaurant in the US. Liu Ruyan really did say that she and her fiancé were just a business arrangement. So, that was the truth. Bi Yuntao laughed. Are you curious why I even came to Milan to find her? Maybe it was because Liu Ruyan wasn't there, so I wasn't as on edge. Or maybe it was because I just found out Liu Ruyan and her fiancé had zero romantic feelings. But I started feeling a little better. Being read so easily by Bi Yuntao, I actually felt kind of embarrassed. I admitted, yeah, kinda. Bi Yuntao didn't hold back. Me. I came to help her catch her man. I saw her stressing out after her man ran away. But she was too chicken to make a move. It was pissing me off, so I stepped in it. What man? Bi Yuntao replied, she has someone she's in love with. You didn't know? That guy is in the US. Apparently because of some drama. They were apart for a few years. She literally moved her whole company to the US just for him. I thought they were finally gonna get together. But somehow the guy ghosted her again. Liu Ruyan was so heartbroken, she drank herself to sleep every night, cried through so many sheets. I couldn't help but laugh. Since when did Liu Ruyan have some guy she loved in the US? The only person she knows there is literally me. Thinking about it, I suddenly choked up. Could Liu Ruyan actually be in love with me? Bi Yuntao chimed in right on cue. Hey, Ji Boda. This guy Liu Ruyan is obsessed with. The more I talk about it, the more I feel like it's you. I quickly denied it. No. She just sees me as a kid. That's impossible. Bi Yuntao doubled down. Why is it impossible? You're amazing. And Liu Ruyan isn't stupid. How could she not see how great you are? I couldn't help but smile bitterly. Maybe I look okay on the outside. But inside, I'm completely shattered and rotten. Nobody could save me now. I was just about to say something else when a crazy loud banging started on the door. Bi Yuntao hurried over to open it, seeing Liu Ruyan looking absolutely wrecked. He was speechless for a second. I slowly walked over to see what was going on too. Liu Ruyan finally saw me. She couldn't hold back anymore, rushed forward and hugged me incredibly tight. She murmured almost reverently, Ji Boda. Bi Yuntao stood there with wide eyes, muttering, Hey, I'm right here. Liu Ruyan yelled, Get out! Bi Yuntao rolled his eyes. Fine, I'm going. He rolled his eyes again, but still tactfully gave us space. The room was left with just me and Liu Ruyan. Being held so tightly by Liu Ruyan, I felt uneasy, but my body instinctively craved her warmth. Liu Ruyan literally soaked my clothes with her tears again. Hearing her sobs get louder, I completely panicked. I patted her and asked, What's wrong? Seriously, what's going on? Talk to me. Please don't be like this. Liu Ruyan looked up, her face full of unspeakable pain. Then her hand started pulling up my shirt. I quickly pushed her away. What are you doing? Liu Ruyan buried her face deep into my knees, crying like she wanted to shed a lifetime of tears. She sobbed, I know everything now. It's totally my fault. But please don't punish me like this. I'm begging you, let me see your scars. I instantly turned to stone. I couldn't move a muscle. My heart was filled with this destructive, agonizing despair. Liu Ruyan knew everything. While I was zoning out, Liu Ruyan, her hands shaking uncontrollably, slowly pulled up the hem of my shirt. With just one quick glance, she completely broke down and turned her head away. We sat there in silence for a long time. Liu Ruyan finally put on a dead serious expression. She said, Ji Boda, from now on, I will stay by your side forever. Whatever you want, I'll give it to you. We'll treat your illness together, step by step. I'll make up for all the ways I hurt you. I love you, and you have feelings for me too, right? Don't leave me. I literally can't live without you. It took me forever to find my voice. I said, Liu Ruyan, I don't want your pity. She replied, It's not pity, it's love. The exact same way you love me. Marrying Ito Cheng back then was me being totally brain dead, because a lot of his vibes reminded me of you. Whenever I was with him, I kept thinking of you. That's the only reason I accepted him. Back then, I thought, I'd probably never fall in love with anyone. So, I just settled. Those motorcycles and luxury cars. It's because you like them. I just wanted to see you hyped when you saw them. Moving to Luosheng was because when you were little, you said you wanted to go there. I just wanted to make you happy. I bought a place in Luosheng exactly like our home. But then you just ghosted me and left. Ji Boda, I've messed up so many times with you. But my most toxic, unforgivable mistake was realizing my feelings for you way too late. Please, forgive me. Give me one more chance, okay? Through my shirt, over my countless scars. She gently pressed a kiss. In that exact moment, my soul literally shivered. I finally couldn't gatekeep my emotions anymore. I choked out, Liu Ruyan, why are you so late? Liu Ruyan, I missed you so much. Half a year later, at the most prestigious therapy clinic in the US, the pristine white door pushed open. I walked out. I smiled at Liu Ruyan. Liu Ruyan took my bag from my hands. Her brows furrowed slightly. I immediately complained. I told you. I said not to do that. You're literally gonna piss me off. Liu Ruyan looked at my face, which was way more expressive and lively than before. Her heart was just filled with pure satisfaction. She casually linked her arm through mine, went on her tiptoes, and kissed my lips. She said, I saw another pair of sneakers yesterday, and a luxury car, and some designer watches. I couldn't hold back, so I bought them all. They just got delivered to the house. Let's go back and check them out. I glared at her. How much was it? Just over 6 million. I was absolutely speechless. Liu Ruyan, you're literally out of control. She laughed. Ha 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 ha. Whatever you say. On the Champs-Élysées, the lavender was in full bloom. A couple that had almost completely fallen apart, but finally held on to each other tightly, walked among it, their faces beaming with the most content smiles.